There it is. We're live. Hash Church 60. Welcome everyone to Hash Church 60 episode. Hey, why aren't we coming through the speaker? That's a concern. That's a concern. You want to make sure that we're
gonna maybe go through your audio settings here.
No. The speaker should be playing right now. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. It's not plugged in, maybe?
Oh, it's plugged in.
Really? Hello? Yes. That's not good. FaceTime, built-in microphone, default, built-in microphone, built-in. Default speakers, built-in output.
Yeah,
that's the output.
Yeah, hit save.
All right. Not, yes, no. It's too bad, man. I would have loved to have had that. I guess we should have figured it out.
No.
I'm not quite hear you. No sound. Yeah, because it changed. When I pushed, they could hear me, and we just changed, we changed everything. So let's go default microphone. Let's go like that. And we'll see how we can do this here. This is just going to change everything.
You need to hit save though.
It doesn't matter. Can you? Yes, perfect. Thank you. Perfect. Good.
Oh my god.
Good. It's on mute. Can you hear you? One guy's saying it's on mute, and everyone else is saying we can hear you. How about you all agree that you can hear me? Yes, I like it. I like it. All right. Well, we can't hear you guys, but then again, we haven't invited another person into the chat yet, so let's do that right now. Let's invite our friend. Send these guys. I would rather you not, because you'll dilute the net that we're on right now.
Into the speaker,
oh, I see what you're saying.
so that everyone can hear.
It'll dilute the sound of the internet, though. You can try it, but if we start getting choppy from one other internet connection, because it's Jamaica, I even asked them to make sure no one else was on the internet connection for us. All right, so guys, sorry about that. We're all focused on our technology here.
One more time.
We have been.
Since they can now hear you.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Try so much. It's yeah. You can try it. You can plug it in real quick. Make a loud sound. I don't think it's gonna work, but let's see. So we're gonna. Hey, Lyndon, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Respect. Started. You guys can come grab the table. Put the table together for you guys if you want to have up front here. All right. Let's start. Let's see. We're live right now with 600 people. Do this. Yes. Let me get this going. All right. So, just had to say hi to everyone. We just had a wonderful group of artists and friends walk in from the Stepping High Ganja Festival. Miguel, the lawyer, Knife, an incredible PhD, brilliant Jamaican man who's articulate and intelligent. We're definitely going to try and get him up here and speak. We got the Dabstar crew in the house. We got Jonah Tacoma and Danny Green. We got Tony Verzura in the house. We got the guys from East London Cannabis Club. are in the house, and we're looking good here, people. 190 live viewers, and I am going to send out the link. Are we live?
Hey, Mark.
There we go. It's a little hot. But why wouldn't the computer be working, dude? Like, why can't we plug right in there and make that work? We did with the music. Hi-yi-yi. Welcome, Mark Scialdone. Thanks for showing up, buddy.
Hey,
how are you doing?
Good. I beat Etienne.
You did beat Etienne. That's like something that never happens.
I know. I tried.
Great, great. So listen, I want to take you guys around here and introduce you to some of the wonderful people that are here. We've got people from Stepping High Festival. We've got artists from all over Jamaica. We have wonderful people from London. We have people from Winnipeg. We have people from Rhode Island. Our crew, Ross and Austin from Rhode Island, are in the house. Where are those guys? We got Breadlocks in the house. We got Knife in the house. So we're definitely going to do quite an incredible hash church here today. We want to make the sound, figure out how we can get the sound from the computer onto the speakers, because we really want everyone to be able to hear. So we're going to keep doing that. Tony, do you want to try to make the computer work? Because God, it would be good.
Great to see everybody.
Smoke dick every day. Hey, well, we'll just give it to you, bro. Thank you for putting yourself out there. He's gone. All right, let's see if we get any. There we go. Johnny B's in the house. What are you doing, Johnny?
I'm smoking some hash. I put on my Legend shirt, got the bong out, making a coffee, and I got my little assortment of hash right there.
I think Cameron has a wireless speaker. It might take a cable. Go see if Cameron's speaker works, because we'll go right from here and make it work. Cameron! Sorry, guys. We're working hard over here to try and get church all organized and intense for you.
Sorry, one more time.
I would love to invite up Knife to come sit with us in Hash Church and tell us a little bit about what's going on here in Jamaica. He's a very brilliant and intelligent man, and I would just love to sit and talk with him. So I am going to invite him up here soon.
One more time.
All right, let's try. Nothing? That's my headphones. What about this one? No, nothing. That speaker will work if we can plug it in. It's gotta. I don't know why my speakers aren't working, but no matter how hard you try, there's always technical difficulties. It's about 31 degrees in the shade here right now, or 98 degrees, as the third world always has said.
Oh, wait. No. Oh, yeah, you can't. How would you can't use this. It has to be auxiliary to auxiliary.
Oh, it's just got to be auxiliary to auxiliary, yeah. We need a straight auxiliary. I'm on Hash Church, so you guys figure it out off camera without me. What are you doing? I think I'm going to invite Knife up and see what he has to say. I'll be right back, guys.
So it looks like it's just me and everybody else. And how is everybody today? It's me, Tony. Haven't seen you in so long. I should be in Jamaica, but I'm at home making hash.
You know, Jamaica, what's going on with the herb here and the situation, politics.
Yeah.
So we've got 300 people are live so far. This is my friend Johnny B, and this is Mark Scialdone. He's a PhD in chemistry.
Great.
So do you want to tell the Hash Church a little bit about yourself so they can know who Knife is?
All right. My name is Kadamawa Knife. Director of the Office of Social Entrepreneurship, University of West Indies, Mona. We spend most of the time really trying to empower people to empower themselves, focus on community development, using sustainable practices. Special interest in agriculture as a driver for wealth creation, you know, not for poverty reduction, but wealth creation. And of course, one of the most highly valued agriculture product is ganja, without a doubt, yes? So people must recognize, remember that in Jamaica, you have a lot of farmers who be planting tomatoes, cabbage, pak choys, things that can't store for a long while. Prices are very volatile.
Yes.
It takes the same amount of time to grow those things that will grow than it takes to actually grow an indica strain of ganja.
Right.
Which means then it will make more economic sense for any farmer to actually plant ganja, which takes 8 weeks to grow, instead of planting cabbage, which takes the same 8 weeks to grow. Because the unit value of ganja is much higher than any other agricultural product that we can plant in Jamaica.
Yes.
Taking the same amount of time but actually less input because they also use fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers on those plants.
Yes.
I would know that ganja is it has a nitrate fixing plant.
And it re-nitrogenizes the soil.
Exactly, it's a nitrate fixing plant. So it doesn't need fertilizer, it doesn't need insecticide because it's also natural insecticide as well.
Yes.
So to promote it is integrated farming using ganja as a main product, but using other products so we can actually increase the income stream of the farm. So I think what is happening in Jamaica is something positive. You know, there are still a lot of things that needs to be addressed in terms of just moving from decriminalization to legalization, because under a decriminalized regime that doesn't allow you to actually access the forms of enterprise that can emerge without any real roadblocks.
True.
So for example, then under a decriminalized but not legalized regime, persons can't just as any farmer go and farm and plant. So you could actually plant cabbage and tomatoes and pot chai,
as you should be able to.
Exactly.
As you should be
and so
able
therefore, what that will allow is that more people start to farm, but the practice will improve, and the quality of the product will also improve because of the ease at which someone can actually enter into the market space. So that kind of freedom is important. However, given how the structure is now in Jamaica, we suggest that they can get license for ganja for traditional medicine practices, because spiritual practices and therapeutics, as well as hemp, that creates opportunities to do things like what you're actually doing now, you know, where persons can look at it as therapeutic. So what we're doing here is that a lot of persons here who under therapy. Now, what is the main killer of people internationally? The stress.
Stress for sure.
Exactly.
100%.
And so, entertainment is seen as a form of therapy to release stress. Now, ganja as a plant, because of how your body is designed with all the receptors on the feet to your toe.
Yes.
In particular in your liver and your brain. When you start to use herb, it connects with those receptors and release those feel-good hormones, which is why sometimes people start to laugh. Your body is now going to what is called a natural alignment. It's like when the yogi decides that you want to open the chakras and go to all the deep meditation and start letting energy rise. As the seventh chakra open, it releases all of these endorphins, which is the feel-good hormone. Now, we know that the herb itself have that kind of impact on those kinds of receptors, the same chakras, you know? I mean, your third eye and your crown chakra. It does that kind of thing, and this is why sometimes people argue that they become clairvoyant and start to see some things. But if you know how to practice when you see those things, you know that it is not something that is abnormal. It means that your state of consciousness have gone. We know that person experiences less stress than the average person out there. It's true. You know? So there are so many things that can be done. I mean, I think we look at product development in a very serious way, in terms of extracting the oils and creating functional foods. Yes. You know, so, and this is done within the whole realm of wellness, but using it to support and stimulate agriculture development in Jamaica, I think is crucial. I mean, if we know what happens under an illegal, criminalized regime, people have bad farming practices because you're trying to hide from the police.
It's prohibition-based farming.
Exactly.
And I've explained to people many times, and you'll understand and get this point very well, that the karmic debt that we have accomplished by feeding into the prohibition-based markets and feeding into prohibition-based profits it has to change.
Yes.
The profits of ganja should be based on standards and agricultural practices.
Exactly. I said that is what it is, because I'm still treating it not as a special product of value, you know, but as almost like a victim. So we cannot allow this plant to be out here just as any other plant would be. And you see, it's almost self-destructive, because the reality is, by keeping that kind of structure in place, they're actually getting less than what they could have gained. Remember, the value is not just in terms of money value, you know. There's a greater part of value that it is hard to quantify, you know. And so when you speak about the environmental value of planting ganja in Jamaica, in terms of how it could absorb carbon and clean the atmosphere, etc., what it does to the soil. I mean, those are things that, while you might not see the monetary value readily, you can actually use practice to say, okay, this is the real value of what is done. But there's a social value out there, because note, when the persons are running away from the police and they go into the mountains, they are cutting down flora and fauna, which are extremely important, endemic flora and fauna. Not because they want to do that, because they are trying to run from.
Yes.
You know, them also start to use bad practices in terms of other farming because they're not seeing the space as their space. You know, so they don't want to invest too much of your time and effort in the plant. They just want to get the plant to grow. You know, and so by just reversing that process, you start to get positive environmental gains because persons will know have better farming practices. Secondly, those persons have to leave their homes for long periods of time, which means then that your families are there by themselves. In the absence of the father or the young youth because they're there in the moment. Yes? So by having it under a more legal regime, some of these ills that arise from the practice will be removed and in many cases improved. Because now there's also a psychosocial effect. Because many persons in Jamaica use herbs, are friends with persons use herbs, but they just vilified it in Jamaica. But now with this decriminalization, more persons feel more free to come out and associate with. Yes, so that psychological effect.
They're no longer trapped in that separation.
Are not as trapped because many still have retention of the status quo perception of, but the
really it's a type of segregation, and it's a type of it's a prohibition mentality that instead of allowing us to practice a radical openness with our ideas and to dialogue with one another and to reason, we feel that fear and scarcity of prohibition rather than that love and abundance of Rasta.
Exactly.
And it's just the other side of the flipped coin.
Exactly. But I know part of it though. I think Bob will say it. I remember interviewed Bob Marley that he suggested that, that when you smoke, herb you become more free, and you say what you want to say. That is part of the constraint that faces many of our people. There's that fear factor. And again, I said it's time for them. For example, having the festival now, the Cannabis Cup, and many persons are out. Now, Stepping High will be coming up in March.
Yes.
Now, what does that say? We have a successful event now. One coming up in March. Should we want the next report? Because that now becomes an event that attracts persons to create a market space where other goods and services can be displayed.
Yes.
Secondly, the Stepping event. What will be unique about the event is the emphasis on ganja related products, meaning ganja becomes an essential input in the product.
Yes.
If this closed, we want to say they're using hemp or a blend of hemp and some other natural fiber. Yes, if it's food, while they can food that it doesn't have ganja in it, they can also have the ones that have that in it so people can see what it can be like. You want people to see the many uses from incense, the cream, to lotions, to different, so you can see that there's an industry which surrounds it. Yes, now, having a prohibitive approach handicaps the amount of creativity and innovation that can be brought to the use of the product, and therefore it stifles the amount of goods and or services that you could have produced using the product. So the prohibitive approach really is almost a kind of backward, self-destructive kind of approach, So you will get some benefits, but the benefits are suboptimal because you could have gotten so much more, you got a more open.
Well, that's why we have different events, and it's why even though we throw different events, we're not competing cup in a Jamaican fashion. We didn't burn anything. We steamed it like the old school guys, and we came up with the exact same winner as the machine that Steve Hill brought. So they did their machine thing, but they also wanted the bioassay of a human being or two. And so I really like the Stepping High Festival. I urge you guys, if you're in Jamaica in March, or if you plan to come to Jamaica in the next little while, March is the time. Stepping High Festival, it's incredible people, and it really is a true ganja festival.
March is really spring coming in, so the place is nice and green and cool. But the point we're making is that if they do understand what the power of the plant is, even through things like event tourism, which is what this will fall in, event wellness tourism. Yes, because that is not pharmaceutical ganja here. This is about persons using the plant as an input. So it becomes like functional food in the area of nutraceuticals. They activate the plant, they put it into something because of what it actually can do for the person who consumes it. I mean, there's like a $250 billion US industry right here.
Exactly. And it's so much. I personally consider that hemp is $1 trillion crop.
Exactly.
There's 50,000 I say 50,000 commercial products, but
Yes.
there's literally hundreds of thousands
exactly.
of commercial products. We've made metals and plastics and
Exactly.
wood products and paper products. Then you have the recreational, the spiritual,
Exactly.
the medicinal, and the preventative aspects of cannabis.
Exactly.
So most people aren't familiar with the preventative forms of cannabis, meaning oral consumption of phytocannabinoids can prevent disease in us as we get older.
Exactly. But remember again, man, an information is there. Your body is designed with the endocannabinoid system, which means that it's designed with receptors to actually use that we have within the plant itself. You know, and it's one of the few systems that is designed which specifically matches a plant. So there's something unique. But the reality is there's always need to inform and so people can become more aware of. You know, ignorance is one of the biggest handicap to persons actually buying into. So we need to just get information out there, and that is why you find that your system now is extremely important, because now you are creating really a universal platform. That's what I mean?
Yeah, we have people from all over the world watching us right now.
Exactly, and that is what is beautiful. Now, if we think about the amount of brain power that is now tapped into this thing, and remember, you know, thoughts travel as well. So as we speak, your audience is thinking and sending out thoughts. There's a lot of information traveling. That becomes phenomenal.
Maybe more ever.
You know, and so this kind of thing I think is crucial, and this is what you want, the consistency. You want it to be ongoing. Wherever we are, you still can make the connection and you feed into the program and provide information.
Yes.
Which means that now we can have a global platform to understand what is that, share what are the practices. You know, that people who want to support be able to support practices, and we will also be able to know what is going on in our space and get ideas as well. You know, because sometimes, you know, when you're in a country, as Rastafari, I would have a natural bias towards it. So it is good when you have other faces as well who are not of the same kind of privilege, showing that there are many reasons as to why a person embrace.
We got the first ball rolling, but the last leg of prohibition will be crushed by sick children.
Yeah.
Anyone can argue against that Rasta belief system, the dreadlock, the Rasta. It's like, oh, no. But now you put a small child with seizures for a day who can't speak or who can't walk, and you give her a drop of oil and she no longer seizes for maybe 100 days. This is amazing.
And nothing at all. And the reality is, this point that I touch, again, is crucial, because those kinds of things are increasing among developing countries. Those kind of seizures among children, respiratory illnesses are increasing.
Of course.
Everything related to ENT, ears, nose, and throat, and the plant is good for the ENT treatment. So you're right. So we need to start rethinking. I mean, recently in Jamaica, there was a lighting of a dome, and it created a serious problem in the atmosphere. You know, and persons were complaining about respiration illnesses amongst children. Now, what were they treating the person? Yet in Jamaica, from Manly West, a developers called asthma and cannasol. And asthma in particular is good for the same kind of respiratory situations, but that was not recommended by the state for use to the public. So you see the educational element, and even though that has been passed, you know, as a medical thing that can be used, I mean, it was not recommended. So there's a kind of things that even when the information is in front of you, it is not in the front of your mind.
Right.
And therefore, when it's a solution, it is not seen as a solution. And as I'm saying, that the education element is crucial.
You went to school yourself, obviously.
Yes.
You're a PhD?
Yes.
And what is your PhD in?
Well, my PhD is actually in the area of sustainable development. Where I focus on strategic planning, and strategic planning techniques within countries or communities, whichever level you want to get it done at. But my current focus now is that I am the director for the Office of Social Entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And so what we look is that how we, again, build the capacity of persons to establish their own social enterprise. The truth is, in many Caribbean countries, what we have naturally is a lot of innovation and creativity amongst the people. Yes, of course, entrepreneurship is really using of innovation and the creativity, which is generating ideas and innovation to transform those ideas into usable things to meet needs and services, to meet needs that are there. And so, having something that facilitates creativity in that kind of way, you know, a vehicle, is what is important. All that you see here is about creativity as well. I mean, the persons who are now using ganja to develop other products, they had ideas, they use innovation to come up with the products, and these now become and generate income. And we're saying that is how they actually move communities forward. They have a program that is not attached to an enterprise. You ask yourself then, how will it be sustained? That are aimed at building communities to be sustained on charity. That might be one income stream, but it's important as an established enterprise. And here's where I'm arguing that ganja in Jamaica becomes a crucial element. When you're looking at establishing the industry, the model would have to be a social enterprise, which means that there are three key focuses: environmental stewardship, creation of social value, and the creation of enterprises so you can sustain the programs.
So creation of social values.
Yes. All right. Economic value and environmental value. So it has a triple bottom line. No, that maps well onto the plant itself within Jamaica, because there's significant environmental gains to be used to the plant in ganja in terms of the soil, as I mentioned before, in terms of nitrate fixing. There's significant social value, as I mentioned before, in terms of when it's under a legal regime, what happens, and how you find that ganja in Jamaica. If you go to communities like Orange or Ranging, that is a community event, meaning that families are a part of the process. Males do most of the planning, about during the reaping time, a lot of the sisters do a lot of the cleaning up of the herb itself, etc. And it becomes a family thing.
It's a family affair when the herb comes down.
Exactly.
Everyone's helping out. It's putting food in everyone's plate.
Exactly. It's really a community, and so therefore it binds and creates bonds amongst people within the community. So there's significant social value. And of course, there's tremendous economic value to be gained. So you find that that model, the social enterprise model, fits well with the practice of ganja already in Jamaica, but also creates, I think, a more solid framework upon which you can look at the business model for the industry itself.
Yeah.
And in that business model now, it actually will put at the center of the business model those who are at the heart of the business, which have to be the farmers themselves. Sorry,
no problem.
Traditionally, farmers are exploited in agriculture.
Yes.
Hence a lot of the concerns in Jamaica about how is that we're going to deal with ganja and the ganja industry now. And that is why we're saying we need a different kind of approach, where persons recognize that collaboration across countries in partnerships can work. So now note, you within the market that I want to penetrate, you understand the standards, you understand the dynamics, you know those persons think and therefore how to get into the market. You have the expertise and the competence and the landscape and the environment to actually grow the plant and do some of the extractions as well. So it means then as partners we will control the entire value chain, from moving from the input straight to the final. And so you have real collaboration that creates win-win scenarios for all persons who are involved. Yes? And the reality is that in both cases, you feel morally empowered and ethically empowered, because you know the relationship that you have is not one that is exploited. And the community people themselves become empowered in terms of economics and social components and environmental programs. So I think that model will work, because it has worked in some kind of way. All of us being done under an illegal regime. Right. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It feels different in Jamaica as from the rest of the world, because there really is this sort of spiritual connection with the plant. You have the Rastafarian people, you have the farmers, and it just doesn't seem like Jamaica is going to allow this to happen in any other way than that the right people get the benefits from it. That the country benefits from this. Because and then you have the singers for the last 40+ years producing incredible music, teaching people about the medicinal effects of cannabis, teaching people about the spiritual effects of cannabis in a way that no marketing campaign out of New York City could ever produce. Now, before I take this dab, I wanted to show you some of Tony's terpenes. These are pure cannabinoid-free terpenes extracted from the plant. So these are the essences. This is another product that Jamaica could be producing. Legal for export because it has no cannabinoids. And what we've learned over the course of the last 5 to 10 years is that these terpenes, when added to different hashes, actually modulate and change the effects of the medicinal components of the plants. So really, really cool. This is something Tony's doing. I, of course, am a hash man. That's my specialty. I'm the bubble man. We're going to be making bubble hash over here with the washing machine and the buckets. We've got the press set up right now, so we're going to be squishing the resin out of the buds.
That's fresh Gorilla Glue.
Just squish this? Oh, great. All right. Well, this is right here. What I'm heating is, this is like a steam pipe. Once again, all of our roots are Jamaican and You know, the original vaporizer is from Jamaica. It's called the steam pipe. I'm not sure if it has roots in India or Africa.
Yeah.
I really am not sure that true
The
history.
steam fire key, alright. The steam fire key. The first set of ones who use the fire key was the bingy ones. Yes, and
Here in
bingy one,
Jamaica.
yeah. So now, but if you look in the book, which is called,
Oh, it's on there.
if you look at the picture in the book, which is called The Emperor Wears No Clothes, they're showing the Dogon. There's a Dogon spiritual man who was actually using a fire key like a chalice. It resembles some of the steam fire key that are actually used in Jamaica. Yes. So the point is, none of this information can be new, and so one can fairly assume that just as how we know that vaporizing is one of the best way to use it, our people would have also known that vaporizing was a good way. But you know what happens? Things come through generations over different time. And so something that we would have seen in ancient times, we'll see it come forward today. So for example, most of the steam fire key we would have used. And there's Bongo Gabi, let me say it, Bongo Gabi.
Bongo Gabi?
Yeah, Bongo Gabi has transitioned now, you know?
Yes.
But Hausa and Bongo Gabi were two of the persons on the bingy ground who really started, who I saw as ones, was using the fire key. Now, then,
Did you ask them, where did you learn this?
you know, I asked an ancient Kojo, seeing who was not a fire key, not a steam man, was a regular chalice man. Why is it that some of the persons use steam chalice? Now, you have some Rastafari people who use a lot of Bible and references. So he said that some of the virgin actually saw the burning bush, which was not burning. In that story about Moses in the burning bush.
Right.
And so Rastafari actually interpret the burning bush as ganja, you know.
Yeah, of course.
See, so when Moses saw the burning bush that was not burning, you imagine Moses now, in all of that vapor, if it was a ganja plant, it would have been a big, so you would have inhaled all of those things. Yeah? So for someone, the concept of the steaming actually comes from that. For others, there are other reasons, because Rastafari have gone through many experiences, and at one point in time, when they were victimizing Rastafari once. A lot of Rastafari
Like how far
people,
back are you talking? Carroll Garden incidents?
Yeah, around those
65?
times. Yeah.
Should Google the Carroll Garden incidents if you aren't familiar with it. It's a very intense experience that happened with the police and the Rastas, and it was the police really went over the line.
Yeah.
And were cutting dreads off with broken bottles.
Enough people get killed, man.
Killing people and
Yeah,
just really.
And that lasted not so just that short period of time, because that kind of thing continued up until the 1970s and the 1980s. And so a lot of the Rastafari brethren now who went into the hill, that's how a lot of them stopped eating cooked food, because a lot of raw food first, the Rastafari is first. Yeah man, like Profile, Ras IRV, who's I think, yeah man, they have a portion name, Ras IRL, you know?
IRL?
Yeah man, Ras IRL.
What about Bongo Roach?
And that's certain, I don't know who's Bongo Roach, but a lot of I trod. And so what happened is that during that time, they decided not to use any fire, because if you're in the hill and light a fire,
interesting.
Persons can see.
Yes. Oh, of course, they're hiding in the hills.
Exactly.
So they stop using the fire, they're eating raw food, and they start vaporizing their herb.
Exactly.
Now, if that isn't one of the best things to come out of Prohibition, I don't know what is. Because most of the things that come out of Prohibition are just absolutely terrible. But I guess every once in a while, when the pressure hits right, you produce a diamond.
Yeah, man, that is right. I'm saying so. So a lot of things that Rastafari, that is how I will argue, you know, that when you think about environmental ethics, Rastafari is a liberty that manifests what is called some of the most extreme environmental ethics, where them we look at it as a kind of ecocentric approach, where we put the entire ecosystem. We put the entire ecosystem at the center of the liberty. Yes? So the Rastaman was saying, okay, we're not killing any animal. So because we're not killing any animal, we're not wearing anything made from leather. We don't want to play a drum that had an animal skin, like goat skin. So Rastafari people actually love a technique of making skins for drum out of banana leaf.
Yeah.
That's what I mean?
Drums without skin.
Exactly.
These are the ethics and the morals of these people.
Exactly. When we're talking about recycling material, the Rastaman at that time was recycling them called focus bag, which is a bag that is used to transport food and flour bag into farm, into wares, making them own clothes. Using recycled rubber tire to make shoes as well, which is now something very popular, where people are using the same rubber tire to recycle for shoes production. Right? So many of those things, they started to look at how they use natural things for containers. They use the gourd and use the coconut. They make things out of bamboo. So the whole sustainable practice was a liberty that Rastafari live not just out of necessity, but because it resonates with one philosophy that what you're promoting is life. And so that's how we actually stop eating cooked food. Because they were saying that the more life you have in the plant, is the more life you get. That was not going into
It's
our lab.
unbelievable the amount of knowledge that the Rastafarian people have had. So deep. Like, to me, the only other people I can compare it to are the Indian sadhus I've hung up. Because these gentlemen also have an incredible wisdom. Their connection is to life, not books so much. But
Exactly.
They speak multiple languages and they know what's going on all around the
Exactly.
world.
I mean,
From people.
Rastafari say that Rastafari is the first book, which means then that every man of full information, and hence Rastafari say you don't believe, you know. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's the philosophy.
They
But-
overstand.
Exactly.
Over the
And
understanding.
remember, yeah, and so the reality is that the greatest difference, the difference between knowledge and wise mind is intuition. That which comes from self, that self-knowledge. Is what Rastafari is. Rastafari is really awakening to self. You know, to see what to say, the I in man. And that I in man is universal. That I is the same within the I. If one accepts self. You know, so there was also many things that actually drive Rastafari liberty. You know, and that is why many of Rastafari ones still hold today that kind of. That is why you talk about Rastafari being ital. You know, so I becomes the thing that raises one to the state of consciousness.
Ital.
Exactly. So everything that Rastafari said would have been produced with letter I. And in the metaphysics, it makes sense, you know, for people who are involved in numerology, you can actually go and check that I is equal to 9. And in numerology, 9 is seen as a perfect number.
Yes.
You know, and so
Getting into Kabbalah.
exactly, and even in English language, I represents first person, where me and you represent second and third person. Then Rastafari speak of I and I. We are speaking of each one being equal to the next in a state of perfection.
Not you and me.
No, as
It's
in
I and I.
yeah. So there's no first or second person. I and I means first and first. You know, so those kind of elements is what drive the Rastaman to live the way I'm living.
So now, how do you feel with everything that's happening and the government now getting behind the herb, and they're, often you'll see them talking, and I often hear them sort of really focused on the money, the money. So how important will it be? I mean, we've heard of repatriation for slavery for over 400 years of genocide and slavery, and we know the importance of that. But do the Rasta people and the growers of Jamaica not in the least are they not owed a formal apology for preaching the truth for decades? Decades, while being arrested and bashed and killed. Is it not in the least, do they not deserve at least an apology? Wouldn't that be amazing?
The reality now is that say, we learn that no one can cast a greater judgment upon you than yourself. You know? And so, the truth is, the people who do these things, man, they will not be free in their brain until they naturally come out and say these things. You know? So even though myself want an apology, the apology is not even so much for us, you know. Not for I and I as Rastafari.
No, it's about the experience.
Exactly, and that will be more liberating for the persons who cause those things because they have this in their brain. So
how often do they have special events for themselves? Sit down and everyone is so happy and taking their picture. But imagine if we did that for the Rastafarian people. And everyone was invited down from the hills. And it was like, guess what? All these ministers, they're lining up to shake your hand and say they're sorry. Because they're now getting behind you, not in front of you, but behind you, because you are the roots of this information.
Yeah, man, I'm actually though, that I think is a thing that can be done. But you see, the Rastaman, Rastaman don't need no apology from no guy. I'm going to tell you something, virgin. Liberty, the biggest apology must be to live where you see the Rastaman live. And that live is good for you and them as well, because the reality is that no.
You guys have a microphone?
You know what I'd really love to do is get my speaker working through this computer, but I can't get it working. So
Yeah, you want to give you an external speaker?
you know what, we'll just keep going. People are seeming to be good, although if you could tell people to not order blender drinks just for like a little bit, because the blender caches out our sound. And then just let everyone know to maybe talk a little quieter so we can hear what the gentleman has to say, because he's laying down amazing knowledge right now. And you guys are lucky in Hash Church, 500 people watching right now around the world, and Knife's laying it down. So let's continue.
Yeah, I say, check it. If you do something wrong, and I get up and say, boy, okay, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. Of course, that has some kind of effect.
Yes.
But the biggest effect is to recognize where the wrong is and know practice what is right. Which means that when the Rastaman was saying, think about the health of the people, you know, don't just give them all these things to eat because some of these things might be poisonous, you know. Let them consume more vegetables, etc., etc.
Yeah.
You know? Free education system more dynamic, which embraces the creativity of young people rather than put them in a kind of stiff-jacketed educational system, which you have now come to recognize. When the Rastaman argue that do not cut down the trees around the river, around the spring because it will cause it to do not throw garbage in the river because it is, you know, those kind of things are things that today modern day society recognize to be true, but can also resolve a lot of agree with the fact that yes, the state must openly acknowledge where they are wrong and apologize, but go a step further, which is to put into place and practice the things that you know are to be true that Rastafari was saying. But here what's happening in Jamaica. This is what the state of the thing that Rastafari are saying, do it without saying it, you know, but they're doing it. And you'll find
that helps.
Yeah, and you'll find out that a lot of these things related to community development being driven by people who embrace Rastafari. And I use those words specifically, which means that even if one doesn't acknowledge himself to be a Rastaman, because there's a certain liberty, is that a name, there's a liberty, and one can see Rastafari in the live and the practice right there. So many youth have that mindset which says you can serve. If you have a skill set, you must be able to serve your people as well using that skill set. That must be something that you like to do. So it doesn't seem like work. Which means that if my interest and passion is in community development, I must link what I do directly to community development. You know, and what is good about that is that the more you practice, the better you actually get at what you are, at what you're doing. You know? And so these are the things that the state should do. Because the practice of Rastafari, just as you have mentioned, which is not anything new. If you go into every ancient societies, whether it be in Indian, Asian, Caucasian, when you find the people who live within the realm of the physical and the metaphysical, their practices are similar. So you can go to the shaman and you see practices that are similar to Rastafari. You go to the Buddhist, you go to the Hindu when you mention your virgin from the Ganges. Remember, you know, the information show that Ethiopia are two great nations. That's what Herodotus like about children about the BC. There are two great nations. One was Sindh, which is India, and Kemet. Now the information show from Ethiopia coming through India and Asia and through West Africa and across into America. So you look across the landscape, you find similar culture across all nations of people. And those nations of people tend to embrace similar practices. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I can go and find and show you a Rastaman who might call himself a next name in every society that you enter. That's why the Rastaman can say that Rastafari is universal, it is universal because it is everywhere. You know?
I felt that in India more so. Hanging out with the Rastas in '95 and or 95 first, but in '98 I ended up in India. I also was in Jamaica that year.
Yeah.
And hanging out with them both, it was just incredible to see. I started thinking like, wow, patties kind of like flattened out samosas, and it's like, I wonder if the Indians brought seeds because I mean Africans were grabbing their bags while they were being stolen from the country.
Ganges.
Indians came here. Indenture.
Yeah. Ganges, remember after 1835, they brought in Indians and indentured laborers. Indians and Asians were Chinese. No, check it. Ganges is the word from ganja actually comes from, you know. Now, in the Caribbean, and that's what is really interesting. In the Caribbean, the Indians that were brought into the Caribbean were from south of India, whose their supreme consciousness was reflected in Kali, from which Kali weed actually comes from as well. So Kali, who is really the sister of Krishna and Shiva being once, the masculine and the feminine, Kali would have been the one who, if there is any imbalance taking place, any oppression taking place, it is through Kali that the imbalance is corrected. And once the imbalance has been corrected, Shiva and Krishna, which comes together, goes what they call the recreation.
Yes.
Like the principle of the phoenix or the scarab, that same kind of principle. Yes? So the Kali people, whoever is spiritual people, and Kali in his consciousness is seen with a fire key.
Yes.
That's what I mean? Kali actually has the same kind of bamboo fire key that we have. Yeah, Kali is like that.
What better way to regulate than with the ganja? You know?
Yeah.
To rebalance.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what happens. And also, so that is what, so there's a connection though. So there's a strong connection between India and Rastafari. Because the information show that the Indian practice were practices that were being practiced by Ethiopia and persons in no, the Rastaman, if it is when Haile Selassie spoke in the United Nations in 1963. At the ending of the speech, he mentioned that until philosophy that goes one way superior. At the ending of that speech, Haile Selassie, there's a section of the speech who said, what then is the ultimate challenge? Because Haile Selassie was arguing that all our education and experience have been prepared to resolve the problem that we face today. So where do these solutions come from? And he's saying that we need to look into our own selves, you know, into what makes us who we are. But he goes further to point out that ultimately what we should adopt is a philosophy and a liberty that makes us become what is called a new race of people. No, that is not skin. That's about mindset. And he argues that not you become a new race of people, not owing allegiance to countries and to nations, but to the entire human community. No,
I felt that very strong, both in the Indian and in the Rasta
Exactly.
cultures. I was always welcomed. I never felt outside of myself in any way. I felt like I was always home.
But that is the reality, because Earth is a universe and space that's shared by everyone. The air itself alone connects everyone across the globe. Yes? So there's a kind of connection. It's recognizing that there's no connection amongst I and I. And therefore, when you say practices within one set of people, you see those practices as well within many sets of people if you actually have interest and observing as well. And the practices will be very strong, especially here. Yeah, the practice will be very strong in Jamaica because it's reinforced by many of the practices of the Indian people as well. So the Indian man really did carry ganja seed into Jamaica.
This is what I've always said.
Yeah, but the African man also brought in ganja seed before Columbus came. There's a set of information by Ivan van Sertima, a Guyanese philosopher, which actually shows. The book is called "They Came Before Columbus."
It came before Columbus, if you want to Google it up, guys.
Right, by Van Sertima. What happens is that there are 3 natural currents off the coast of West Africa. That's why you get all the hurricanes in Jamaica and the Caribbean coming off the coast of West Africa. Which means that if you should drop anything from the coast of West Africa, it will naturally come into the Caribbean. So he was suggesting that persons were always traveling across the coast because it's not so far apart. We were always traveling across the coast, and the evidence of these would have been in like the Olmeca heads that you see in Mexico, etc., which shows great features of African people. But the bigger picture there is that persons were always traveling across the entire globe, making connections and sharing ideas. And as ideas share, practices change and practices are retained as well. So many of those things that we see today are things that are re-emerging, yes, out of the consciousness and DNA of persons, because we are now faced with a situation that unless we adopt these things, we find ourselves in problems. Unless people stop eating the poison that them eating and feeding the poison them feeding to people, we find ourselves in problems. Unless people start to recognize the true value of the environment and treat it as such, we find ourselves in problems. Unless people start to recognize the true value of beings and every being around them.
So you're saying when they walk the walk and not just talk the talk, that's when we'll see the change.
Yeah.
The apology isn't the necessary component, it's the actions that come after the apologies.
Crucial.
The changing, I mean, I used to eat flesh back when I was a teenager. It's been 25 years, but I felt that it made me aggressive. And I felt like, particularly when I ate mushrooms and thought about the way the animals were slaughtered and the torture that went into them and the adrenaline that was released into their body was almost like a demonic juice to feed demons with.
I ever say something like, you know, I mean, energy can never be created now, just try it only change form, you know.
Yeah.
And so now, what you consume becomes a part of your whole being. So physically, when an animal is killed, that animal doesn't volunteer to be killed. and so it puts up resistance, which means that the body starts to release a lot of adrenaline.
Yes.
Because adrenaline becomes a toxin, and that toxin is captured in the flesh of the animal. So people are naturally intaking things that will cause them to have that kind of adrenaline, kind of rush. No, it doesn't mean that everybody who eat it will get aggressive, etc. However, it means that if you don't consume it, you're more or less than likely to have that kind of aggression. Plants on the other hand are different, but still there's need to be aware because you cannot replant in an unsustainable way as well. The plant actually this informs how much you do consume of the plant. Because if you eat it faster than how it grows, it means that soon you will not have any to eat. So you use those simple things as ways that guide you, you know. And so it's not like I want to go and study a lot of horticulture, a lot of other kind of things. Yes,
Yes.
the simple practices there. Look at how other animals as well actually operate within the natural environment. Yes?
Yes.
Plants have natural things that also protects and informs you as to what is it that you
Lost him.
yes, it's good.
Hey,
So we have food in it. Pineapple, papaya. No, the color of the food, that's what it's called a sugar apple.
Bubbleman,
No,
can you
this is
ask him,
sugar apple. No,
ask him about the
those
gotcha?
foods are here.
Mm,
Vitamin E. Vitamin E is a very important thing for your skin as well. Yes?
Yes.
So the food itself can actually tell you what it having based on the color. Now if I'm using herb and what a herb we know in Jamaica that herb and food mix because herb also stimulates your appetite.
Absolutely.
Now what is happening there when you start to steam the herb? Note your body high concentration in your brain, especially in the ancient part of your brain, which contains like your pineal gland and your pituitary gland, which are linked into your 6th and 7th chakra. No, when you use a herb, it starts to stimulate your brain. You have a lot of sugars, a lot of oxygen. If your brain is using a lot of oxygen, it means that you're going to need more water because whatever oxygen is contained in the water that you have in your system, the brain is going to use it. So you might get a bit dehydrated. So you need sugars in a form that is easily accessed. Simple sugars. So now you're thinking about cane.
Cane. Perfect.
Yeah, coconut water, which is high in potassium.
Yeah.
But these fruits as well. The pine, exactly.
Papaya. Star fruit.
Yeah,
Passion fruit.
All right. And note, a lot of those things are also high in vitamin C. But remember that vitamin C actually helps to protect cells and help in the rebuilding of cells.
Right.
This is how perfect the human system really is if you actually listen to it. And so, herb and bad food doesn't mix, which means that herb is such a natural plant. When you use the herb, you also want to feed it with the right kind of fuel. Yes, the right kind of fuel are the ones that gives your body the least amount of work to absorb them. What are the things that give your body the least amount of work to absorb them? Fruits.
And what
Liquid
tastes
sugar.
better after uplifting your spirit with herbs than like in a nice
Yeah.
hot day,
Yeah,
just fruit right off the tree?
exactly.
There's a relationship as well, I believe, that is literally, I don't know if it's thousands or millions of years old or if it's older than time itself. But the pulling of the fruit from the tree,
Yes.
that experience
Tree.
when it just,
Yes,
You
it
know?
is even from getting, a food that is picked from the trees, even from a food that is bought in the marketplace. So just thinking about transportation only, but there's a connection. I mean, just as though when a child is born, it is important to ensure that that child connects to the mother right away. So you put them on the breast. Touching is important, but thought is even more important. Yes, because usually when one approaches a plant, you're not approaching a plant with any kind of aggression because really there is no resistance either. So even though the thoughts, the subtle kind of energy and people must realize that these things are real. When people have pheromones, we exchange pheromones. Plants have those as well.
yes.
That is why if you put a lot of plants in the same basket, they rhyme on each other because of the exchange of the pheromones. By just touching the plant, your energy and the plant is connected to it. So somebody might say, why I want the rest going so deep, and I think it's not deep, but it's just what actually is.
It's a connection.
You are actually connected to the food first by visual.
Yes.
Because you become attracted
And
to the
then
plant.
the
Exactly.
olfactory.
Exactly. And you know, but the olfactory,
It's powerful.
which is most ancient part of the brain,
Ancient.
would have been the thing that actually first attracted to
Yeah.
you because you're probably just not aware of the attraction.
I think I want to offer him. Did you want to try the steam?
No, you know, I tend to use only 1 meter of bamboo.
Yeah. Do you want us to give you a split for rolling?
No, I use a steam chalice that is made out of bamboo.
Oh,
only.
well, maybe we'll get a look right there. Steam chalice made out of bamboo. Because people keep not offering you a rip.
No,
So
man.
I knew that he was going to have only his own chalice.
No, man, yeah, man, I got just look at it because I just sit on the gates by Ruffo. You can move the fire keep right.
We gotta get someone to drive to the chest and get the speaker.
Remember, it's not the speaker.
See?
We can take a break.
Just
Just for a few minutes, we can fix that.
yeah, alright, I send fire key. You see, this is the thing with Rastafari as well now. We try to just use the thing in our most natural form. You know? So I like this thing here.
Steam.
But, yeah.
It's
but,
steam.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah, what happened now is that you see the bamboo now because it's sustainability. Yeah, sustainability crucial. So we check it. The bamboo, the principle of a steam fire key, you know, is that you have water, but there's something submerged below the water, which means that when the heat is applied and you pull, you know, Rastafari speak of air, heat, and water.
Yep.
The principle of chain, when you pull, the actual active some that is released and cools down in the water and so it is out. Now it is important because you know that THC, herb, gets combustion at a higher degree than most other plants as well. So now if you apply the principle to other things that are not, because glass is not unnatural, but use less processing, which you get the bamboo, ensure to pour the bamboo and put that thing that
I
is
love a
submerged.
steam chalice.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah, so that kind of thing.
It's the original vaporizer.
Exactly.
Really. It really
Yeah,
is the original vaporizer.
Yeah, that is the real. As a matter of fact, when they used to do it, when Bongo Gabi and House steaming,
Yeah.
what they had, because it was made of pure bamboo, they had to use a pan, a container to put the fire in. Yes, and put on top of it.
Yeah.
What has happened over time is that, I met a lady, a elder Rastafari lady. I have some concerns about the pan. You know, I was just thinking whether the heat is causing anything to be released from the pan.
Yeah.
And so,
the metal pan.
Yeah.
Shoe polish or whatnot.
Yeah, it would have been something like some food pan they would have used.
Okay.
Those are those, you know, so
Puncture it with holes.
exactly.
Use the tongs, the bamboo tongs to lift it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, I know it well.
So now, what we did was the lady said to me, I said to her, if you can make something out of clay. So she made a kind of container of clay, but it wasn't so stable on top of the bamboo. Then she decided that she's going to design something. And what she did was to create something like this.
It's really the opposite of a chillum. It's quite neat.
Exactly. And here is
So, he's explaining the steam chalice for those of you that are just tuning in. We've got 520 viewers right now around the world. I want to thank everyone, particularly the panelists, for being patient and hanging out. Welcome Cuban and Etienne, Horatio, Johnny B, and Mark Scialdone into the room. Much appreciated to have you guys here, and I am going to get, we're going to get you guys talking. We just don't have a very good speaker here, and so I think right now it's just really about giving as many people as I can a platform to tell us all this great information.
All right, so check this out now. So this is what the lady created. Something similar to this. Here, this is about 4 to 5 inches tall.
Yes.
So I will put some of the herb. Not much herb, because there's not even so much herb in this.
You need some?
Hey, okay, use some of yours. Yeah, I don't need much. Yeah, that could be it. That small amount. So you find that this thing here is more actually equal amounts to get more. So that goes far down within it.
So like a chillum, he's packing it instead of with hash. He's just packing it right down at the bottom. And it's got a tiny little hole in the bottom right there.
Yes. So no, this is about 3 inches of air.
3 inches of air.
So once I put it in this part,
This is the key part right here.
exactly, it separates the fire.
So he's putting the plug in. There's a little chillum stone. It's quite opposite from a chillum stone. They're usually long and thick like finger.
Yeah.
This is flat like a disc, punctured with a few holes.
Yeah.
The
coals,
the coals.
the little charcoals that are made from coconut shell were placed here. And so there's a separation between the ganja and fire. So when you pull on it, it is really the heat from the fire that's actually passing.
You're managing to use a much lower temperature heat, in
Exactly.
which case the glandular trichomes and the terpene profiles and the cannabinoids are all they're all steaming out
Exactly.
to perfection.
So it means that it tastes as how the herb actually smells.
Exactly. I'll tell you something. If you get your chalice going, what I'd love to show you is what we showed Kevin at the chalice station at Dubwise in
Yes.
Kingston. He's always there. You must know
Yeah,
Kevin.
man, I know Kevin.
Kevin's wicked.
Yeah.
So he was chuffing away on his chalice, and we came by with the rosin. No
Yeah.
chemicals.
Yes.
We're making it right now with
Yes.
heat,
Yes.
right beside you. We just use heat and pressure, and the oil squeezes out of
Yes.
the bud. So we came over and we're like, oh, let's put some of that on there. And he's like, no, what are you doing? It goes under. And I'm like, no, this one
It
goes on top.
Yeah,
And
man.
he was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And when we finally dropped that oil on those
Yeah.
coals, oh my God, it was
When you
amazing.
put it, yeah.
And he had the herb underneath. He was surprised that it didn't taste
Burn.
hot or
Okay,
smoke.
okay.
It was still steam,
Okay.
even directly on the coals.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
amazing.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
The
we'll do it
reason
later
is
for
fast.
sure.
Yeah,
I love that you've got your calabash with all your fruit, your
Yeah.
knife, your
Yeah.
sugar cane, and your
Yeah,
your-
because I mean,
that's wicked.
the reality is that herb is like a perfect plant for your brain, and so really, if something goes and impacts your brain, you always want to ensure that your brain have the other kind of food that it requires as well. You don't want to overwork your brain in a simple way. So ensure that you have the kind of energy. If you're going to drive a vehicle, you are going to ensure that you have what is required in terms of fuel. Because if your brain is operating faster than the amount of fuel that you have to sustain, then you have a problem. That's why sometimes some people say that they faint. Them faint because your blood sugar level has gone down. So you need to ensure that you have enough liquid in your system, and have enough of the simple sugars in your system which your body can actually absorb, and that you have enough simple sugars around you as well. That during the process of doing what you're doing, you can get what you want as well.
I hope for those of you that are watching really heard what he just said, because it was an incredibly important factor. And I see a lot of people using cannabis, particularly at cups, not necessarily here in Jamaica, but I've seen it a million times in Amsterdam. And it's just that, don't allow your brain to work harder than it needs to work.
Yeah.
Feed it what it requires. As you're feeding your body, if you are obsessed about feeding your body the most incredible quality of herb, but then you're feeding on Oreos and Coca-Cola, you are getting it wrong. I'm telling you. Lose the Oreos and Coca-Cola. Get on a sugarcane stick. You can just chew that juice right out of there. And it's really quite something. When I say fruit juice, I mean a natural fruit juice.
Man.
Get away from buying fruit juice from the store, because it's just an inverted version of what it's supposed to be. It's full of sugars that feed cancers, and they've used gases and stuff to ripen the fruit that those juices were even made from.
Exactly.
So
I mean, that's a very crucial point. To this self. It's about how one
big ball
and the love that one have for self. Yes? Because if
Oh yeah. Yeah, me too.
if and I do know that people treat themselves as being very unique and special, I mean it's important to actually give that unique and special self that same unique and special fuel, So what one puts in self is a reflection also of value that one places on self, and ultimately what one will place on others around them as well. So we're saying treat yourself well. I mean, give
You're
yourself
worth
the best.
it.
Yeah. Give yourself the best things that it needs to make it live the best way that it can actually live. And if you think that herb is so good for you, that means you want to put the food that is going to be digested in your stomach. That is really good for you as well.
Right.
So ultimately, it's about how one love self. And I mean, and herb reminds person of those things, because sometimes when you use a herb, it gives you more time to go into self, and that is what I find that many persons are also afraid of.
right.
How is it and one goes into and tap into self? So you're so busy every day, up and down, distracted by all these other things, and so you don't really get the time to actually be with oneself. And the herb actually gives persons that kind of time. And sometimes it feels so good to be with self that sometimes you don't want to go amongst a lot of persons.
Yeah.
But they tell you why you need to go do, because that experience needs to be shared. People need to realize that there's a different reality outside of what is prescribed by the status quo. And that doesn't mean that you're anti-person the status quo. You just have to realize that people can coexist and still be alright with each other.
Absolutely.
Not imposing how you live on anybody, and not allowing anybody to impose how they live.
No, but definitely sharing and inspiring.
Yeah.
That's how to do it. I don't ever impose. I just share the way I live my life. That's what Bubbleman's World, what we're doing here at Hash Church, is all about.
Yeah.
This is just my life, and I somehow managed to get a decent traction on YouTube, and I thought, what better way than to turn that into something that can benefit as many possible people and all of us at once. I mean, I get so much out of an experience like Hash Church. It's an absolute honor to have you come and lay down.
Yeah, man. I mean,
you know, the first time I seen you speak was at the start of the John 9 video.
okay.
And I was just like, you know, like I had just been at Andrea's house, like before that video got filmed. Beautiful. Look at Omar's rosin. This is Jamaican rosin, no chemicals, just heat. We squeeze the butt. Look at the rosin, guys, from the Jamaican herb. That is the living gold, and that right there is going to change a lot of things on this island. It's really exciting. No, it's super stoked to have you here, man.
First of all, I say, even the single virgin doing, I say, this is what is there now. No, he is not just learning how to do this.
Right.
But it's for years. But yes, it is just now that they're actually getting a chance to do it.
Right.
So if we realize how much now, because of a law, that we have handicapped the development of many communities.
Yeah, Omar, dude, I'm so glad to have met you. And you're linked up with the good guys in London, and truly. Now, this is the thing about Jamaica. Everyone obviously feels that they're proud and that they're growing some of the best herb. We have been brutally honest in a Gordon chef who sort of yells at people, not to crush people, but to inspire them that they can do better.
Yeah.
And then it's a simple tweak that what they're doing is right. They just need to twist a tiny little bit. Omar is on point. He was one of the first people to bring herb by the booth that we squeezed on the plates. And the plates, I mean, it's like the word job. It's not going to lie. If I squeeze it and I open it and there's nothing there, and you're like, why is there nothing there? And I'm like, that's what I want to ask you. Why is there nothing there?
Exactly.
When we first squeezed his bud, this looks like hash has been squeezed. This is a lot of resin to come off of just bud. So that means he's doing things right.
Exactly.
Whatever he's doing, whatever strains he's planting, he's doing it right. And all of the Hash Church audience now knows. That's right. Come to Negril, check out Omar.
And you know, but it says though, I think it says something which is even more important, is that youths who are involved in ganja farming more readily adopt new forms of planting techniques and new technologies, which has been a major problem across the Caribbean to get other young youth who are involved in other kind of farming to take up these techniques.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
And like, you know, I go further with it, but no help, nobody to inspire about it, and then we do it and I get fight, like you want to stop, but with energy like this, you want to go further.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, this is like an exposure and I really like it. I heard about the church today, I couldn't miss it for nothing. There's so many people today just to come to this church.
Hey, Omar, I'm only buying Omar's herb if I go to Negril.
So you see, that's the power of both good talent and multimedia.
Yes.
Because no one have a global platform. It's actually marketing what you're actually doing right. The one thing, you know?
Yeah, man, and before the end of the week, I'll have an Instagram profile. So
You're married.
Yields.
Bless it.
Married, you know. You must say, what is it? But then for us, carry water there. Carry most of them.
Even better. Of course he carries his own water. This is a true Rastaman right here.
Nice.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. He's got his chalice. That's a nice one. Show that to the camera. How you doing, Kelly P? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up? Young JR in the house. Young JR, Junior Reed's son, talented artist. It's great to, you know, I find the artists are a very important part of the Jamaican culture. They are the poets and they are the MCs that have brought the culture to the world through their words and through their voices. So I have a deep respect for all of the Jamaican artists that are doing the work. You cannot believe, and I'm not just saying this, there is an abnormally high amount of talent on this island. I've never really seen anything like it. I was traveling in Kingston when I met Callie P, and I was going to different studios, and I remember it was actually at the studio that you were at, where you shot a little fire for On Air FM, and three or 4 years ago at least. But then there were just two other guys sitting there, and they were like, "Hey, you want me to say something?" And they were also incredibly talented. I was just like, "Are you kidding?" The one guy under the tree, like under the burnt out light bulb, I didn't even know he was there, and he's just like, "I'll spit something." Gets up and just like lays it out. So I love what you guys are doing. It's big responsibility in the sense of sharing that, you know, the word of Rastafari.
It's the word sound and power, you know, and that one thing, you know, word sound and power where we share, you know. You see me, I say, man.
Yeah.
Because really and truly, that is it is a part of I and I mission, you know. You understand? And
Yes.
we have the fullness, how we come together with the herbs now. The herbs is that thing that, you know, will give you strength. You understand? It gives you strength. And make you meditate for a sense. So you can even say, oh, it will help to inspire all the settings, what's happening in life each and every day, what we see around and what we experience.
Right.
Talk
louder. I want them to hear you good.
Yes, man.
I want them to hear you good. We got 527 people watching around the world right now. Knife is lighting up his chalice. He's getting his steam chalice going in the background, and we're just.
Mark, you know what? How do you feel being in Jamaica?
I absolutely love being in Jamaica. In fact, this last trip, my wife and family just left, and halfway through the trip, she said, "I think I figured it out." And I said, "What?" And she said, "You're a Jamaican." And I'm like, "Oh, is that what it is?"
Yo,
she's like,
this
"Yeah,
man's
you."
everywhere.
Everywhere,
Something is
man.
happening, you know. This man is there, and no Rastafari events, you know. And I love that you really go to the real people, the people that really need.
That's who I spend my time
You
with.
understand? You share knowledge with those who love to share.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
This is really a strength, and I can only big up this man here because I can tell you, we don't talk too much, but this man, if I and I enough strength in Jamaica, same here,
Give
you know.
thanks,
So big
man.
up.
Give thanks.
Big
Thanks
up.
for the kind
You
words.
know? Yeah, man. So, you know, introduce, you know, this is Young JR, this is Calipede Lyrical Fire. You can check me on Instagram right now, the real Calipede, Young JR Music. You don't know there.
One sec, I'll be right back, guys. You keep talking to the hash
Man. Hey, we have a brand new thing right now, you know. We see enough things happening in the world, and we there, you know, burn the highest grade right now. This is some California herbs, you know, in a Jamaica, you know. Not your thing. So what we want to say is that herbs make you meditate. Use it for the right thing, people. Herbs make you meditate, and we meditate a terrible tune named War No War, because in these times there is too much things happening out there, too much sad things that mean we have to come there and chant the things. Kick it up on them, my lord. Give them peace.
Well, I see kindness and misguidedness. Tell me that really makes sense.
I'm a no war, no war. If you don't want no war, give us some reaction right now.
Well, it's a situation, please shut down. Now tell me what the instigator with them sponsors and funds. Sponsors and funds are the same old backdoor dealers in slums. Early days, plotting and chatting and robbing resources of bullets starting there. And our own again, I just you to the colors of the eyes and skin. Them a war spiritual, them a war digital, and we even squeeze up in. What kind of world we living in? Truth them balling and suffering. From Libya to Jamaica, we are sing. From Ghana go down back to Gambia, we no want no war. From Korea, South Korea, we no want no war. From Argentina to Brazil, say we no want no war. Tell them we no want no war. From China go down to Japan, say we no want no war. To Bronx, say we no want no war. From Tivoli, Rima to jungle, we no want no war. Tell them we no want no war.
Worldwide we come to melt this. Burn the devil and him few apprentice. Frankincense we light. They send play with them senses. The sweet marijuana, enough for them need to smoke. Cause all the one where them a pre is a joke. The world full of hypocrites, but one like them and the king. We're thing, no for we give them the support. Them plants up for them Babylon, that alone them want to grow. Still the Rasta chant, like Young J.I. and Kalik. Yes, them feel that for sure. Cause when the Rasta use yada, I blaze the utter fire. People think feel the Lord.
From Ghana go down to Japan, say we no
want no war.
From Queens of Brooklyn, even the man, you don't know it's herb, you know. Right now it's a joy to know that the herb was really in Jamaica, where it's
such a joy, you know what I mean? Be even there right now and smoke from them, let me come in and it's a joy, you know what I mean? Because the elders them go through a lot of tribulation and a lot of struggles for the herb which defines, you know, our freedom and our free space for once someone use it for medical use. Because it's not just smoking alone. You have clothing in it, you know what I mean? You have bionic medical products outside, you know what I mean? Gear oil and everything, you know. The herb is medicine, you know what I mean? You can't fight medicine. Every tree in this world can be free, why this little plant can be free. So we give thanks to the state and there's a lot more space of improvement. So we're just working on it. 26 cities
Still
of
learning and
freedom.
still getting educated about it.
Yeah, right now, Bubbleman right now, it's a joy to even meet
Bubbleman's in the house, man. Yeah, it's always a joy to hang out with you guys, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I've known Callie a while. I met you just the other night, but I felt like we've been friends for years. So
Yeah, man, the thing is that it's each one teach one, you know, and really this herbs, you know, is not just talk when we say healing of the nation. It means get educated about it because it is good in so much different forms. You understand? These people, they bring out the best out of the herbs.
Yeah, like
Every time I see him say, yo, I bring out the best out of the herbs. You understand? So we really give thanks. Yeah, man.
get used to it. We're here to stay. We're not going anywhere.
There's a lot of improvement. I mean, like, they say Jamaica have the best herb alongside like Colombia and Panama and Afghan and India and Africa, but you know what I mean, there's a lot of space of improvement in Jamaica, like the farmers knowing not using a fertilizer and certain manure and stuff that will affect the plant and affect the meditation of the plant that you're getting, you know what I mean? So it's very important for one to really get, you know, educated with this herb, you know, and know the medicine that is in it, like the CBD, the THC,
Yes,
you
the
know what I mean?
cannabinoids and the terpenes.
All of them things.
We love the terpenes.
Those are stuff that is important, you know what I mean? The sativa, indica, if you're going to work and stuff, you know that the sativa is best for that, you don't want to body high in the work and stuff. Through the indica is when you're having sleeping problems and stuff, you take the indica in the night, which is like purple skunk and stuff, you know, it's a whole body high. So get more aware with it, you know what I mean? And share it with others and stuff, not just for smoking and stuff, but the medicinal purpose, you know what I mean? Because they might not want to smoke, but there's a lot of ways you can help them, you know what I mean?
I tell people all the time, in particular elders, I say, you know, you don't need to smoke the herb, but you should really extract some with coconut oil, and then just eat a little bit of that in the morning and at night, and it'll not to feel the effects, but simply to feed their endocannabinoid system to heal their body. Looks like we have a steam chalice session going on over here. Look at this, guys. Let's check that out a little bit. Let's get that computer over there. Look at this guy. Hey, open up there, Tony. Let's see it. Tony's hitting the chalice. So suddenly there's a beautiful steam chalice going on here. Tony's ripping it up. Got some wonderful people there. That's Dabstar joining in the house next to Knife and Lyndon from the Stepping High Festival. Breadlocks in the background. The yellow shirt. Chester! Yeah! All the good folks are in the house, man. It's great to see all these people in Hash Church. I'm going to do a little walk, actually, and just, you know, show the audience who's here. We've got a good little crew. I just met these guys today. You guys got to be on Hash Church. Respect. People from all around the world. Why don't you guys start telling us where you're from in the chat, and I'll read that off. We've got to give a mad shout-out to Chris, Opal, and Kimbo. These guys are my friends here, and I'm originally from Winnipeg. Two of them are from Winnipeg, so we go way back. And this is the Sea Star Inn, where you got to come check out the Livity. If you're in Jamaica, in Negril, it's on the cliffs. It's the place to be. They got the bar sitting in the pool. You can eat your breakfast. They let us do Hash Church here, so obviously they're pretty cool. We got a bunch of other folks in the house that we invited in. We got more of the crew from the Dab Stars in the house. Miss High Times. Yeah, in the background we got, what's your name again, bro, with the bubs and the rosin? Raffy's in the house. So yeah, it's nice. It's a good Hash Church here. We got the East London Cannabis Club in the house. They're all stuffing their faces with rosin and food. These guys are fiends. They've been at the booth every freaking day. They've basically been our crew, really. They just show up with a pound of weed and say, "Let's split." I think that's what they've been. I think that's what they've been doing the whole time. This is awesome. Obviously, they're hooked up with Omar, so they got the good squishy going on. We got some more friends over here. Hash Church in the house. Look at Parish is in the house. Respect, respect. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Yes, yes. Bless up. Dude, representing. He was chilling out hard at the booth last. What did you do? 6 hours there? 6 hours. You were watching the whole time. You were like, this is awesome. Gong Show Supreme. I love it. Anyway, we're gonna say hi to some more people. We're gonna go check out this artist. What was the artist's name again? Shep. So this is an amazing artist. Is this Queen? Your name is? Nika. So they're here for Hash Church as well today. They didn't know they were going to be here in Hash Church, but if you're in Negril, definitely check this guy out. He's an incredible artist. So we're going to move on. Got some more folks puffing on the herb in Hash Church. Love to see the ladies hitting the herb. Respect, respect, respect. Callie P, you ended up back over here. What's up, guys? Thanks for showing up for Hash Church. Respect. All right, Hash Church and house. Look, we got rigs over here. There's more rigs over here. What's going on? You guys dabbing it up over here? I like it. I like it. Dabbing on Hash Church. Well, I hope you guys tried some of that flower rosin that we're making over there. Yeah. Have you tried some? Oh, please. Yeah, just bring Dabber over and scoop some up. It's all like freshly made. What's going on, guys? Everything good? All right, all right. Everything good now. Hash Church is in the house. Awesome. So yeah, it's a good time here at Sea Star Inn. Got a beautiful little place here. You can see over by the little waterfall pool over here. A nice little pool right here as well that they got going on. It's a pretty nice, cozy little spot with really good people. So if you're in Negril, you'll definitely have a lot of cool folks to hang out with if you stay at this spot here. So I'm going to take us back over to the stage and maybe start making some hash. Get the bubble hash going. We've already made probably a couple of grams of rosin. And slow down, we can't see shit. You got a song for me? What's the song? It's right there, Parrish. There. See how easy that was? All right, here, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to put this down so I don't have to hold it. You guys can just stand right there and sing us the song. What if we make all right, so we got this song, guys?
Yeah, we got a song for Jamaica Bubbleman.
Oh, right on. Here we go.
We're still working on it a little.
All right, Chester. All I would say is be loud. Yeah, be loud. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
1, 2.
Cannabis will save the world. Save the world. Save the world. Cannabis will save the world. Save the world. Save the world. Tell it to the boys and girls. Boys and girls. Boys and girls. Cannabis will save the world. Save the world. Save the world. Cannabis will heal the world. Heal the world. Heal the world. I eat it. I drink it. I live it, I sell it, hey, cannabis will save the world, save the world, save the world, cannabis will save the world, save the world, save the world,
THC,
hey,
CBD,
hey, hey,
LMNOP,
hey,
AQRST. Cannabis will save the world,
save the world, save the world, save the world, save the world, save the world. Tell it to the boys and girls, cannabis will heal the world, heal the world, heal the world. I eat it, I drink it, I live it, I sell it. Cannabis save the world. Hey.
THC is for the cancer. CBD is for the children and the youth. Save the world.
Save the world. Save the world. Save the world. Rastafarian, big part of the cannabis school. Bubbleman, Dubstar, stepping high. Don't know. Everyone is here. One big family. Rasta.
Cannabis. 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 Cannabis will save the world. Save the world. Save the world.
as you can see, we're having a lot of fun here. All right. Easy going on here. Cannabis Cup, Roots Rastafari Festival.
Thanks to God.
It's pretty good here, guys. Is that you, Johnny? I can't hear you. Speak up. Yeah, my speaker, because I'm in such a loud group, it's going to be really hard to hear from a lot of the panels today. Let's do a bong rip. I can do that.
Cannabis.
I'll be right back. I got to go get some flower rods.
We'll save those stuff.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Yes, come sit down. All right, here we go.
Remember they said, oh, she don't know how to unmute.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, so the favorite.
All right, these guys are going to tell you a little bit about the Stepping High Festival, and I'm going to be right back. Here you go, guys. It's all you. Stepping High.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for coming and sharing that.
Yeah, man, this is Stepping High Ladies. Stepping High Ladies, welcome.
Yeah, I'm Tawani Connell.
And?
I'm Carlene, mom, and little sister.
Yeah, they keep the engine going for Stepping High, right? Blessed, and this is King Charlotte, spokesperson and the artist for Stepping High.
Very good friend.
Rastafari, yeah, man. Yeah, so ladies, how you think about the whole vibes today at Bubbleman Sunday Hash Church that keeps going? What do you think about it? What do you think about it?
It was wonderful. It was a good experience. The first time experience for me with Bubbleman and Hash Church. Really liked it. Yeah. But I was here with you last Hash. Yeah, she was. Sunday last week. And tough first time too, right? My first time. Safari. We're not leaving.
All right, we have Bubbleman coming. These money coming for a minute.
Yeah.
These ladies would like to talk to you for a minute. I was asking them how they heard from the Bubbleman program, and they give their opinions, how they like it, and they think it's a wonderful experience. I want to hear your take on everything.
My take?
Yeah.
Well, this is their time. Yeah, exactly.
So, Weston, what you feel about them coming on board? And
Well, I mean, I thought you guys could maybe tell them a little bit about Stepping High Festival. Tell them when it's happening, how long you guys have been doing it, and how they can come here in March, the dates, etc., for when the festival is on.
right.
Tell them.
Yeah, and do remember, guys, everybody's watching us, so it's live. So go ahead.
No pressure.
Yeah. Tawani.
Going on for the past 12 years. It literally started out as a backyard party. Parents, that mom and dad decided to do a send-off party for a group of visitors who came, and it was a ganja party. Yeah, that grew. Everybody loved the experience, and every year they kept requesting it. Mommy? Yeah. Please.
Yeah, so we're on again in March, and it's gonna be the authentic experience.
March the 30th. It's our second time being legally on mainstream media, because it has been underground for the past 11 years. But we had the vision. We trust the vision. So it's on again for 13 stages.
Yeah. Always a one love vibe. From all over the world are attracted to herbs, and we know the quality is good here. Yes.
What else? Oh, we have it's the visions. We're gonna extend, because we usually do it for best grades in the West, so we've extended now to national level. So we want to have the nation best.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Parishes.
Parish finalists.
Yes. Parish finalists.
So
we're really excited about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So guys, this is King Charlo once again. Like I said, I know there's a lot of you listening So to make it more transparent to you people who are out there listening, it's good to let you know that there's a difference between Stepping High and other events, the festival events that's been held here. The difference is Stepping High is an authentic movement, you know what I meaning giving back more to the community, and it's preserving our culture because it's not just ganja, and it's also growing the ganja in a ital, natural form, no chemical fertilizers, all of that, right? Because we are aware of what's going on, so we want you to know the difference. What Stepping High brings, the authenticness and the essence of restoring the beauty of the culture for next generation, whether black, white, purple, or blue, because it's bigger than race thing. This ganja, marijuana, cannabis coming together, it's one vehicle, it's one national goal for everyone. It's like it's the last chance for us to unite on earth as people, you know. We see it's one vehicle, which is cannabis, right? So I'm saying that to you guys to let you know if you guys want to be sponsors, you guys want to support, get on board the farmer and in shape, it is very, very vital for you to do it now because this is a chance for all of us, right, to come together. And the event is in March. This year, next year,
March 5 and 6. 5 and 6. The day and night event, so come out early in the day. There's going to be a lot to experience at the festival.
I suggest they book early because at that time the rates are still.
And we want to encourage interaction though, with the Stepping High. It's a family thing and want to have interaction between all our patrons.
Yes, we call it a Stepping High family. Once you are participating, then you're a family of Stepping High. And Stepping High, we want to say, you know, it's the whole vision thinking of a higher level, you know.
Yeah, guys, and once again, like I said, the difference is we're authentic, grassroots movement that is more for the people, giving back to the people, giving back to the community. It's a mixture of native and also visitors like yourself. So we are definitely different. It's very important for us to stress that point. All right, we're not like, you know how the difference of cooperative work. No, we're not like that. We're giving back to the community. Like I told my partners here in the movement, one of my vision is to give back in the community in the form of preserving a medical center here in Negril. You know, we don't have a major medical center here. It's very, very important.
You have like a clinic.
Yeah.
They're basic and they're still in need of
assistance.
For instance, yes.
Negril is the biggest tourist resort in Jamaica, and we don't have a state-of-the-art medical center. It's a shame. So I am proud to tell you that, and that's what Stepping High is working towards, initiating, putting funds towards that, because all the cooperatives here, all the hotels, they're being very slow towards that. They're procrastinating towards that, and we're saying this is the move. This is now. All of us need to get together with this national ganja movement, Stepping High, and make it happen. One love, peace. Rastafari, King Charles. Ladies.
Yes. All right. As King Charles was saying, they want the farmers to benefit as well. So it's not just in just one area. We have gone through the experience with the tourist industry. We have gone through that experience with the sugar industry, and where we find that the persons who are really the people who are on the ground and doing all the labor, they are not benefiting as much as they should. So we're looking to see in this industry in Jamaica coming up that it will be more balanced and that everybody can benefit from this development.
Alright, we also show them.
Oh, so we now have a new logo. Stepping High. It's the longest running ganja festival in Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Together. Say that again together.
Stepping High
Festival is the
longest running ganja festival in Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Rastafarian. Do you
Oh,
guys
join, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, Stepping High Festival. We have our website, it's just, it's launched, it's steppinghighfestival.com. Alright, oh, it's steppinghighfestival.com.
Steppinghighfestival.com.
And use our hashtag, it's Stepping High Festival 2016, but it's elevating minds, one love, oneness. Yeah.
and if you guys have any questions, please post them up. We'll let Bubbleman link us with you guys on that, right?
Thanks for having us, by the way.
Yes, thank you guys for having
Thanks
me.
for talking.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Spreading the
One
love.
love.
That's awesome.
Bye.
Thanks, Bubbleman.
Oh my God.
Tony.
What is
How you
up,
doing, bud?
guys? Stepping High wants to know if you guys have any questions. Does anyone have any questions for Stepping High? I'm just filling in. I'm not hot at all. I'm not. It's not really sweat. This is just a 3D illusion that it's wet here.
Is it that hot?
Yeah, we're gonna make some bubble hash. I'm just seeing if anybody wants any has any questions.
I haven't asked any questions mainly because I can't hear the panelists. It's so quiet.
Can't hear
I'm
us.
gonna start organizing.
Yeah, we pressed through like maybe 15 different farmers ganja, and instead of using a machine to test, we used the rosin press.
Right.
We were pressing, right? Yeah. So this is some rosin that was made here. This hasn't been cleaned up yet, so this has been pressed out, but we're gonna clean it through one more through a 25. Not that many particulates, but it's really good. Really good. Not everybody's does this. There's been, some of the ganjas presses a little less yields than everybody else. But this guy right here, Omar's been yielding. This outdoors yielding, and it's good, real good. So,
Once these guys are done talking,
Hey, Tony, I have a question.
it's pretty damn good. So people that try to say there's not good resin here, it's all in the.
Hey, Tony, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Tony, can you hear me?
Oh, you try.
You can't hear me.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, Tony, do you?
There you go. I got bubble.
If
Rosin.
in the rosin process,
This is the bubble.
does it decarb? Is that decarb?
This is flower rosin.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, in general, in the process, has anyone tested it for whether or not decarb is happening?
To whether the what?
Has anyone tested their rosin to determine whether it's
Internet's
decarb or
just
not?
so bad.
because everyone's standing around you talking.
Right.
No matter how much I ask them, they won't stop.
Okay, hold on. Let me see something here.
Can
Let
you
me
take that out and we walk
hold on. Let's just see if we can fix this once and for all. Let me see this.
Put it on a speaker. Hold up. Give him 1 minute.
Just turn it off for everyone to give it a shot. No, I'm gonna get everyone to move from here right away so I can put the computer and on that
All right,
side.
ask the question again, Mark.
So, has anyone ever tested their rosin for decarb? Does it decarboxylate?
Yes,
Decarb.
you know, rosin was tested. I think Soil Grown has his tested. I think Soil Grown had his tested,
That means
and
it works
it
as a
came
big
back
speaker.
a lot of THCA, way more than any THC.
Yeah. So basically.
Yeah, usually what happens.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say what's happening is those that are pressing at higher temperatures, longer temperatures, are gonna start converting that THC to THC. I've seen stuff as much as 60-40, THCA 60. But again, the more resin, the better the quality. The faster you're pressed, the lower the temp, the less conversion. but certainly I've seen people in rosin, flower rosin, particularly more than hash rosin, the decarboxylation happening. I think this will work in the big speaker now.
Can you hear us?
Can you actually hear us?
We can hear you, Tony.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear us?
You want to put it on the big speaker?
What is decarbing is when you're really tired and super high. It's not a real word.
Tell him where it's at. Tell him where it's at. Tell him where it's at.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second.
Well, mostly says right.
Yes.
Hold up, they're trying to get a hookup, right?
Hold on, though. Let's see. No, because your music worked. This whole place should be lit up. Now the guy's playing music over there.
Guys, can you tell him to turn it down?
Yeah, you go ahead and talk.
Can you hear me now?
Say something
Mark.
important.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, you're loud.
Okay, great. Okay, so the question is decarboxylation happening, and to what extent might that be happening? Because it's been sort of proposed, again, that this is somewhat of a steam distillation process, that it's actually driven by the superheating of water in a really quick, fast way under pressure, which essentially is bursting everything out of the bud. And so I'm just curious on whether or not people have analytical data for whether or not rosin is decarbed or not. That's all.
Yeah, the stuff that I've seen tested in California, not just for myself and other people, as well as in Washington, where it's happening a lot more of. You see a lot of testing there, and there is a little bit of conversion for sure happening.
Well, it
especially in the flour versus the hash rosin.
My particular machine,
rosin is very shattery. It would make sense that actually that's
we're good.
That's crystalline THC, which is just crystallized in the glass kind of form, and that's totally consistent with the way a material like THCA would crystallize. The question is THC a solid or a liquid? I mean, most people assume it's going to be a solid if it's very, very in its pure form, but in most cases it's a liquid. I mean, that's the clear, right? Purified, activated THC in most cases is a liquid. I'm just trying to understand whether or not it could be a solid if it's in its extremely pure form, and whether or not the rosin process could be a way of purifying THC in kind of like a flash way.
Well, I certainly use it for THCA, THC, CBDA, CBD. It's even converted into CBN. So, I mean, I usually see 3 to 6% on the conversion, but there are techniques to get it under 1%. But I'd say the worst case scenario I've seen is 20%, and it really has to do with the heat and the time.
That's what he was saying.
You know, that's really what it comes down to.
If you're doing your testing by
As far as
GC, you're going to see decarboxylation in the DC. So you would have to do the measurement by a room temperature technique, by either HPLC or NMR, because in the GC you're going to decarboxylate any THCA. I guess the question would be is that, you know, again, if THCA, which is a crystalline solid of known melting point, if the glassiness and the shattery-like consistency of rosin is essentially just crystallized THCA in a glass-type crystalline lattice, which is completely consistent.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a supplement.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, so I get what you're saying. So THCA in its pure form is going to be a powder crystalline. As you warm it up and heat it up, yes, you'll melt it a little down, and then it'll start to become more of a liquid. And at little small percentages, 3, 5, 10, 15%, 20%, it starts to turn into a liquid and more of a crystalline like shatter. So if you overdo it, then I think you're going to end up with more of a darker liquid THC, you know?
Yeah, too much heat.
I guess that's what you were asking.
Yeah, too much heat considered.
I wanted to ask.
CBN.
I wanted to ask in chat if the hemp SCI, is that you, Skunkman?
No, OG Brick 20.
Hemp SCI, is that you, Skunkman?
Oh, I see. Hemp SCI, okay.
He's talking like
No
I would
form
guess
of
that
company
it's the
that sells
Skunkman, so I wanted to say hi
Oh,
if it
okay.
was.
Okay.
He can let me know in chat by replying if he wants to. If he doesn't want to, I understand as well, buddy. I wish you were here, man.
Hey, Crystal ID card may count.
Let your brother know that one of the biggest problems we have issue we face in Jamaica. Yeah, one of the issues we face with in Jamaica is the drying structure after we reap, because we're in a moist environment. After we reap, we don't have a proper drying structure. If we have a proper drying structure, then we would have better coming out of the THC and the nitrons and whatever, you know what I mean? But that is one of our biggest defeats, because we don't have a proper structuring of a drying system, all right? A lot of the farmers here suffer from that, whereas the plant they grow, it is so high, but because of the moisture, it keeps it down. So because they don't have a proper way of drying, then it takes away from that. If we have proper drying system like you guys back home, then we will get more out of the plant, and we will get it just as the same as you guys, or even better. And the thing is, it's more natural.
Are you seeing issues with
That's the biggest issue with
like molds and stuff like that because it's not drying properly and not curing properly?
Right. That's the biggest problem, biggest issue. Now, once we can correct that, Jamaica will have better cannabis, by far.
Well, I really want to get the hash start going here, guys. So why don't we move these chairs and stand up? We can sort of turn this.
You can still see us.
Here, you probably pull this out a bit, Tony. I got that going on.
Yeah, when I was in Jamaica,
some of the audience, but
everything was hung dry. And I guess that's where it closes back to, just hanging out and the wind was blowing. That's when we made hash outside. It comes down to climate.
I just want to say that I miss Johnny B being out here, and I wish the Skunkman was out here as well.
I should have been.
It's hotter than hell, bro.
I should have been.
It's
in there,
hot,
but you know, surgery. I'm there in spirit.
Yeah, I just said hello.
Making hash and enjoying the Jamaican. Cut down the Jamaican plant the other day. Maybe it was about time to cut down the Jamaican while you guys were in Jamaica.
Damn, you know, I didn't try to, but it looks like I blew up Skunkman Sam. Everyone's in the room asking him questions now. Sorry, Sam. I'm going to make this hash here, guys, so I think we're going to get going really soon. See what we got going on here.
Want this off? You want this off?
I'm going to use it. I guess I could use it.
You want us to pull you out further?
Oh, there's another plug right here, I think.
Put you on the floor.
Pretty soon.
We can put you on the floor.
So good.
Crazy.
All right, are we good? Are we getting there, guys?
Making hash.
Got a good crew. All right, guys, we're gonna make some hash, finally. Thank you for your patience. It's been, yeah, microphone would be bad. You got a microphone. Yeah. What note do you have? We need 2 mics. Nope.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that Soil Grown got deleted on Instagram. Show him some love. His new Instagram is soilgrown_solventless. I'm trying to build up his follower account again. But yeah.
Awesome.
Who's trying to build up the follower?
Soil
Soil
grown.
Grown got deleted last night, man. So he made a new account, Soil Grown _ solventless.
Why did he get deleted? Do you know?
IG just deletes people. Who knows anymore? You know, it's kind of like random. But I
Oh,
know a
I'll
lot of people
be
watch this
next then.
video. Yeah, a lot of people watch this video, so I just figured I'd throw it in there so people that like Soil Grown or like Rosin can find his new IG. Because he takes some pretty cool pics, bro, and he still does it the same old way that he's been doing it for months. Flowers, no screens. He's a pretty dope feed to follow.
I don't doubt that he will. I don't doubt that he will have a hard time getting a following. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Cube. And Soil Grown definitely needs to pick up his following. Welcome, Todd. We've been at it for a couple of hours, maybe a little bit less. We've heard from a bunch of different knowledgeable people, and we're about to make some bubble hash. So yeah, I guess you guys can just talk amongst yourselves while we're making bubble, and we'll get this show on the road.
I'm down. Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning, Todd.
Good morning, man. My bad.
That's all good.
I now have to.
Hey, a couple things, man. The Instagram thing. You know, everybody that I know that has written the Instagram and asked them for their account back, that wasn't trying to sling fucking weed off their Instagram profile, has gotten their profile back. You know, I'm hoping Strain Hunters comes back on too.
Yeah, man. That's why I've heard a lot of different reasons why they might be removing it, like pricing. I don't discuss pricing, or I get like kind of scared on the drops. I try to mix it up with other pictures of like my personal life, so I don't think it's just like a weed page. But
well, I don't think it's a problem with it being a weed page per se. I think the problem is, I mean, look at High Times. High Times has like how many hundred thousands of people on it, but they're not trying to use it to sling weed in their DMs. And anybody that thinks that Instagram can't see your friggin' direct messages doesn't understand how computers work.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I set up meetings maybe with shops and stuff through DM, but definitely no slang.
I wouldn't use it for business like that, people. If they think that you're using their software for an illegal, they're gonna fucking cut you. There's no ways around it. And you know what? They're gonna give in to the cops. If the cops contact them with a warrant and say, we want to look at this private profile, don't you think for a minute they're not like, here you go, instantly.
Yo, Todd, are you gonna be at the Emerald Cup this year?
Hell yeah.
Sweet. I'm
I
judging
think
the
it's the
Emerald Cup.
best
So
event in the world, really, for cannabis.
I'm excited, man. I love to sit down and spark up with you. We didn't really get to link up at Chalice, but I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah. You know, though, and I think about the THCA and THC thing about the rosin, I think naturally you're going to have a little bit of it decarb because you're using heat. There's no way that some of the THC isn't going to get decarboxylated into THC.
The data I'm looking at now, Todd, shows that it's mostly all THCA.
Right. Mostly.
Reaching
Depends on how much heat you add and for how long you add it.
Yeah, sure.
Think about when we first started doing it, people pressing at like 300 degrees and shit for a long time. I'm pretty sure that was pretty activated. You know?
That's pretty decarbed right there.
Yeah, the standard now is like the low temp, high pressure. It's more acidic. I've noticed the high is different. Rosin's changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other question that people keep on asking is, does the rosin process de-wax? And I would just defer to anyone who has analytical results. I don't have analytical results myself, but I can only share this result that I do believe that the moisture content in the bud, if you're pressing bud, has a whole lot to do with the efficiency of the transfer, because I have some analytical data on this, not ready for prime time, but I could basically tell you that the greater the moisture content in the bud, the more higher your yield's going to be, and that, again, plays into the fact that this is a steam distillation process that's happening under pressure.
You know, Mark, I don't really think there's, you know, because if you take some older pot that is clearly really dry and it has less than, let's say, 8% moisture, it's not really going to have, a lot of steam. It's pretty big pressure in the oil. Hold on, I gotta go, like, murder my Dobermans 1 second.
Yeah, I guess, Todd, I would say
and
that
I would add,
I have to compare is that I took sample that I intentionally dried and took sample that I did not dry, and I got a better yield with the one that I did not dry. So that just says that in that particular case, with that strain, under the conditions that I tried, water content did play a role in yield.
Oh yeah, when my stuff was moist, it yielded more. But really, what's happening is we're pressing up
also water.
oils. No.
I did some bone dry testing the other day. We took some bone dry material. We pressed it in a big vise, and it doesn't butter out. Now the stuff that has the moisture, within a couple of days it butters out. So it's come to the pressure. The more pressure, I'm getting bigger yields. I just found this little technique. The guy, he put a huge vise, we put a big bar on it. He put so much pressure on that thing. And I said, I don't get anything from the Congo. It was bone dry. And the rosin he pressed from it was amazing. Like, I've never seen it before. It all comes down to, and he had barely any heat. He had it at 140. And he got really,
one thing I want to say, though, is strain, everything is strain and cure dependent.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So much so. We can't sit here and generalize what all is going to do the same vice. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over everybody.
Sorry. It was just I was listening.
Guys, we have a chat in the side. We have a chat in the side, and if you guys can just write like Q or something each time you want to say something, then it lets everyone else know that, okay, Todd's next, Mark's speaking, but Todd just wrote Q. Just kind of do it like that, because it comes across. I know you guys are all passionate and have awesome things to say, and I just want to hear them all, clearly and articulately. So back to you, fellows. We're making hash. Yeah.
It was like 4.
All
right, well, that doesn't mean everybody stops. I'll get my 2 cents in there. Q Tony. Okay, so I would say it's very much strain specific. I also noticed that a fresher trichome, a fresher cure, more moisture is going to lead to buttering out a lot more oftentimes. The resin trichomes themselves, when they're cured, like say hard grapes, just like you were doing dry sift, when you get that perfect cure on that, it's going to produce a different type of hash rosin. Same thing in the flower rosin. So if it's dry, it's perfectly cured, freshly cured, or dried very well, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, I find that it's going to produce a much more stable flower or hash rosin. So if the resin's stable and the resin's dry, then your rosin, whether it's flower or hash, will produce a more stable material, or you'll butter out. And sometimes I intentionally butter things out. But there are certain strains I find that also, no matter what you do, will never butter out, and certain strains will always produce a certain amount. And we pressed out 20 different ganja farmers here, and each one of them had a different result, and all of it was moist, very moist. So we were going like 305 degrees for 25 and 30 seconds just to get anything out of the bud, just to kind of give you an idea. So I find with a higher moisture content, sometimes a little longer temperature, a little higher temperature, we'll try to steam that water out. But if you're getting like more yields than the THC that's coming on the plant, that, or 95% plus, then you're getting more stuff out of it. You're not just getting, the resin. So I think filtration has a lot to do with it. At 32 micron and below, you start to really filter a lot of things out. If you look at things in the solvent world, things down as low as 1 micron. I know Horatio's probably using things in 1 micron or below. And that's what Mark's used to seeing, things done in microns, like below 1, if you're talking about getting rid of fats and lipids and everything else. Otherwise, you're just kind of pressing trichome heads and the oils and the terpenes through a 32 micron screen or a 90 micron, and you're getting a bunch of stuff with that, Otherwise, you're 100%. It's not.
I've been pressing the 4 micron hash, and the results and the yields I'm getting are a lot better than some of the other heads, and everybody's finding it a lot smoother. So I'm taking it down to, I've gotten really fine, and I'm finding that really nice.
Hey John, can I ask a question? I ask a question, John? What's left
Basically ready to
behind
make.
in the bag
Right.
after you do that press?
What's left
What's
in it?
behind in the bag? I've tested that.
What's left behind in the bag after you press heads?
It looks like head cellulose, like dried, like I always press hash, so I get like a very, very, very dry.
It turns light.
Light powdered with dry cellulose heads.
It's not.
It's the non-oils.
It's not cellulose, right? It's not cellulose. Those are lipids. So the waxy membrane over the plant. If you're removing the trichomes and you're removing something that's in the envelope of the cuticle, of which the vesicles that hold plant oil is, I mean that's where the oil exists. All of those are envelopes of not cellulose. Those are envelopes of lipids.
Right.
Those are vesicles. Those are fats and lipids. So what's left behind actually answers the question that's been posed on Facebook many times, which is, does the pressing process actually, defat, or does it winterize? Is what's coming over to have fat? And it's like, no, it's because it's a steam distillation process, and those fats and waxes could seep through the bubble bag because you're basically melting it. But the physical process of azeotropic distillation only happens with those molecules that undergo that steam distillation process with water, and that's going to be things like terpenes and things like the cannabinoids and perhaps the flavonoids. I'm not aware of that occurring, but I'm absolutely certain that what you're doing, it's a steam distillation process that leaves the fats behind. The fats are left behind. To answer the question.
Well, one thing I've noticed, man, is that there's kind of like a temperature and pressure ratio. If you have like if I have good hash and I stay at like 150, 160, and I give it a lot of pressure, what I see comes out looks kind of like almost instant wax, like auto butter right out on the screen. You know what I mean? Now, if I turn up the temperature to like 240, for example, right, and I press it, it comes out looking like an oil. Now, I've noticed that, right? And what I heard in conversation is that if your temperature is too low and you press too hard and it takes too long for it to come out, then the waxes can leave from the material. And if you do have a higher temperature and you press fast, then you get the essential oils first. And if you keep pressing, then you get all that unwanted stuff into your oil.
They're not gonna do it.
So it's supposed to be. That's why a lot of a lot of very clear, like stable rosin you'll see is made short press, decent temperature, 220, 230, and with high pressure. And they don't press for longer than like 4 or 5 seconds, and that's their grade.
Up right now. So do it like that. There we go.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, for me, I find with a hotter temperature, the material is more shattery, and it's hard to deal. So I like the lower temperature, and it's easier to play with. I can actually deal with my material. So I mean, does that have a lot to do with what's being left in that? That is what it's by hearing what we're talking about. There's reasons why, like with certain hashes, I can like just pick up and play with. Certain hashes I can't. All right, so.
Can I say something?
Make a little bubble. We're doing layers right now. So if someone's talking, we have it on mute. But we've got ice, herb, and now we're going to keep going until we get to the top.
Commentary.
Not sure if I should say anything right now. Are we all supposed to be watching?
Yeah,
You guys talk away.
you could talk away, but we muted you guys because we're trying to teach them how to make bubble here, and right now they're loading one of the small bubble machines with herb and ice. This herb has been in a freezer for a couple days now, getting really, really cold. They broke it down. They've got some. They're layering their bag, and For those that already are professional hash makers that absolutely know how to make bubble hash, this will probably bore you. But
You know, they talk and have abstract conversations. You know.
yeah, you can talk amongst yourself. But we'll just chime in from time to time. We're going to tell you the stuff that's going on.
What I was
There's
going to
more
say,
rosin here at
the waxes and the oils are completely different, and you're not getting waxes per se when you press rosin the way you're getting the oils. The oils are the resin heads, of course, and they are more prone to an expel press. The wax that you're discussing is just a cuticle layer of, it's like a layer of skin almost, but it's not. It's the oil on the plant's skin, and it's just not as prone to like ooze out onto the edge of your parchment as much as the resin heads are to burst. I mean, and those the liquid that's inside, the cannabinoids that are inside the, and we should ask someone smart like Sam the Skunkman, is it a liquid inside a resin head? You know, what is that inside that resin head? Is it like a little liquid goo of my favorite chemicals, or is it cellular matter?
At the cellular level, Todd, it's cytoplasm, which is fluid. It's liquid. In order for the cell to be able to communicate with its environment and in living, breathing plant tissue, these are all liquid media to transfer nutrients in and out of the cell. And certainly for the compounds that are being made by the enzymes that are being secreted, all of these things have to be stored, transported. They're typically stored, again, the plant makes use of vesicles, which again take the form of these little spheres that basically house the oil. And you're right, it's a fluid oil in there, an oil that when the plant is ruptured, or when it's frozen in the fresh frozen process, because remember, when you freeze water, water crystallizes and expands. That's why frozen salmon is chewy, right? Because you're expanding all of that tissue, and all of the water that's within the cell structure and the cell wall structure now crystallizes and freezes and breaks and compromises all of that tissue. So whether it's plant tissue or meat tissue, doesn't make a difference. The point is that all of the water, even in the most driest herb, there is still water molecules within the plant cells that are released when it's heated up and superheated beyond the boiling point of water. And that's enough of a driving force to basically carry out the oil and expel it out of the plant.
And then Sam just confirmed in chat that it is a liquid. So it's like us. We're squishy little beings. I don't want to get squished, but I'm sure if put me in a vice, I'd pop like a frickin'... Yeah, so anyway, the point is that this liquid is what we're getting when we press rosin. The wax is not so much. But when you blast it with a gas, you are actually dissolving both the cuticle layer, the wax, and the resin head at the same time, which is then why if you take it, de-wax it, winterize it, you know, that's where that's going to come from. You know, like a lot of people don't realize winterization was a fucking 1940s patent to clean up mayonnaise, because when we started refrigerating our foods and putting this basically fat in the refrigerator, it would separate and it looked unsightly. So the science figured out if they froze it, they could scoop away the thinner fats and it wouldn't separate in our refrigerators. That is literally the patent for winterization.
Todd, let me correct. So winterization is actually a phenomena that's been known in the petroleum industry for years. And what they find is when they take crude oil and they pump it into a holding tank and then it gets really cold, the oil's viscosity basically makes it prohibitively high that their pumps start failing and they can't pump oil. So winterization is something that's been practiced in the petroleum industry for
different application from what we're doing.
What they do is they intentionally cool the oil so it basically drops out all of the solids, and then they pour off the liquids, and that is what is called winterized oil, because it's already gone through a cooling cycle to remove any of the crap that's going to make it too viscous to pump through the lines. So winterization goes back to the around the time of the Second World War, actually, in the petroleum.
Right, 1940s. If you go look up the patent for winterization, you'll see it was applied to mayonnaise. That's what it is. Because look, I look everything up. I'm a little geek when it comes to the computer. So that's it kind of blew my mind to realize we were just using food extraction technologies. But once I kind of got it, you know, that when we say we're smoking wax, it's really not wax. There's no wax in the oil if you do it right. It's a misnomer.
Well, and not all BHO processes are the same. You know, some butane extractions take a lot more of the wax fraction. Other ones leave a lot of the wax fraction behind. So it really depends on the process that you're running, and the amount of butane and the kinetics of how much butane is going through that weed at any one time, and the temperature. All that plays a big role in the extraction efficiency.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I noticed.
You got
I get higher on flower rosin than hash rosin. I love flower rosin. Shit's fire.
Do you think it's because there's more terpenes present?
That's why I used to.
I'm a fan of water-pressed rosin. I'm not water hash rosin. I should put it that way.
I've thought about it, man, because I've pressed hash rosin ever since the beginning, right? Dry sieved, water hash.
I have rosin from.
Oh, my bad.
I got rosin from the dentist hopper. I got bubble hash from the dentist. From the dry, from the bud, is more tastier. It's got better flavor. Of course, I did it all. I mean, I have to, and I want to test them pretty soon too. But I'm waiting to call them so I can do terpenes. So that's why I'm holding up, right? But I mean, I'm seeing that, right? And then if I get into different flavors, when I'm seeing how the more terpene flavor is, it modulates more. It picks me up, right? So where the bubble hash is more sedating. I'm just, and it's the same strain, right? Mind you, this is the 739120. This is just static dry sifting, and this is the whole bud plant profile. So you're getting all different types from the same batch, right? So it's really all day will solve. That's cool shit.
All right, so I press a lot of hash rosin, right? Dry sift, 73, 90s, 45, done it all. And I smoke a lot, like 2-3 grams of that shit a day. Well, man, one thing that knocks me the fuck out is the flower rosin. I don't know if it's because it's a full spectrum or what it is about it, but it's more satisfying to me. It's loud. You can rip up that parchment open, dude, and it just fucking reeks. Different than water hash. Yeah, it's proper, man. I really like that shit.
I honestly don't think that water hash pressed is really rosin. I think rosin really only is buds, squishing buds, because that's got all the terps. That's got those readily available oils. It's a totally awesome experience. When people started taking it and pressing water hash, I was like, you took away the spark, man. You took away that little bit of wow that was there, that living oil, because now it's just another washed, processed, I don't know, just don't dig it. It tastes flat to me.
Yeah, dude, I went to this dude's lab here in Seattle. He goes by Straight Concentrates. And these cats were pressing flowers in parchment, right? Opening up 2 little holes on the parchment and squishing with mad heat and pressure to the point where, like, that shit was just dripping down like a waterfall. And they had a parchment paper on the bottom, right, where all the rosin would just collect. And they were mass pressing flowers like I've never seen anybody do before. It was great. And that lab just smells so good in there, man. It's nice. I want to get myself a nice press just dedicated for the flowers with that sort of pressure and heat where it could be easy for me to make it.
Yeah, I went over to a guy's place the other day, and this guy has pressed everything. He's pressed orange peels. He even said he pressed bacon and made bacon on this little press. And really, he's it's crazy. Everybody's pressing like crazy. It's great to see, right? Like, and he just had this little technique that he showed me, and how he folded the paper and he pushed it down. He put so much pressure on it, the bottom would take a little lip. But I mean, the rosin he's getting from it was amazing. I'm definitely getting a different press while he was showing me. So there's just so many different ways, right? And it's a vertical press too. He's not going horizontal. That's what I would say. I like the vertical press, and it's easier for me.
So the oil just drops out the side?
Oh, bro.
Comes out the top, actually.
I'm gonna try to find the link, but it's crazy. I to put it in dimensions, it must have been like maybe 6 inches long, 2.5, 3 inches wide, right? The parchment, and they had the flowers packed in that parchment. No screen or anything like that. The dude had 2 little holes on the edge, you know what I mean? And when it would press, the oil would just like drip down from that one side. I guess in the chat they're calling it directional flow, but oh man, that is some cool shit right there. No scraping, no nothing. It just fat, big patty in the end when you're done with that pound.
What kind of yields are they getting, Cuban?
Oh, I don't know, but that dude's press is gnarly. It's nothing high tech either. It's just like some crazy pressure, and you know, I don't know. He definitely has what he's doing pretty dialed in. But yields, I don't know, man. It would be similar to what a solvent-based extraction would be, I guess, if you have the correct pressure and heat. But it was impressive for sure.
This is what he had. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is what he had put together. And it's a vise. And then he mounted the hot iron onto the side. All right? One on each side. And I mean, this thing was squishing out rosin like I was impressed. And I mean, just caked it right out, no problem. And it was just leverage. And he made this thing for under $100. I mean, good on him, right? And cheap little hot irons and a vise, and put his whole weight into it. And I was just like, wow. I was like, thank you for showing me. And like I said, he's pressed everything. He's tested every bud in Vancouver and stuff like that. He was telling me all about it. It's really cool. So everybody's out there coming all different ways, but it seems like the more the pressure, he went at a lower heat, and the product he was squishing out he was getting great results, and it was like paper thin with what was left over. Whereas I'm doing with other stuff, I still got a lot of heavy material, so I'll put 2 or 3 together and press on it. But with this, the way he had it, it was almost like as thin as paper when he took the bud out of it. And the rosin was all there. He had everything. And then he folded the paper on corners and he pushed it in. It was kind of interesting. I should show you guys.
There's a run on vices now at Home Depot, right? Turkey bag.
Yeah, so he puts it in the paper, he folds it in like this, and then he creases it like this on each side, and he sticks it in the vise like that, and it all squishes out the top, like like this. Sorry, puts it in the vise like that, and it oozes out the top and out the bottom. A little pops out the bottom when it's finished, and it's really the whole top is just amazing the amount he's getting out of it. I was like, good on you. His name was Josh, so I know he's watching. Thanks, Josh. That was awesome. Like, even told him it was like it's cheap and it's so effective. It was nice to see. Everybody went quiet.
Yeah.
I'm doing a bong rip, you know.
I was geeking out watching Mark give a speech to all the people in Jamaica, thinking this is really stony. That I'm sitting here, kind of like where I would normally be at a High Times event, which is probably behind Mark, watching him talk, but I can't hear him, which is also strange, and I'm thousands of miles away.
But we're behind him right now while he's talking, so you know what? Bong rip.
Technology is strange. Oh. Could be the weed. But I guess he's talking about, yeah, put some water in here like this, and then you mix it like that. Oh my gosh.
And this is some Presto 7390 120, and it is so amazing. Nope.
Hey, John, did you press any of that weed from the 315?
The 315.
From the I watched your YouTube video on the CMH harvest, right?
Oh, that Dennis Hopper! I'm pressing that. It was killer. I'm gonna start pressing. I'm gonna go get a vice. After this guy showed me this vice, because I'm using like little clamps and stuff, I'm like, I gotta go buy a big vice, and that's what I'm gonna do today. After we get off hash church, we'll swap meat. There's probably one there for like $20, guaranteed. I already got the hot irons. I already broke them. They're already in pieces, so I'm just gonna kind of weld them on each side type deal with a little bit of liquid weld from Canadian Tire, probably $10. And I'm gonna press the whole. I'm gonna press the whole Dennis Hopper, the whole plant, and that high CBD strain. There was a strain on the stage of Vancouver 420. I've tested it 3 times. It's all coming over 10.56%, 10.11. It's all CBD, and the terpenes are just so amazingly fruity. I've never came across a strain like it. It's pretty amazing. And we found the kid. He's got the clones of it, and hopefully we can kind of get it out there. He's just some guy, sitting at home and came up with a strain and goes, hey, check this out. And amazing profile.
Well, you're pretty happy with the yield underneath the 315s?
190 grams under the Congo, under that 315. Amazing resin. I mean, this is what, it's right here. I'm squishing it out. I'm really happy with it. I'm honestly, the video I'm doing right now, I had the remote cushion between the ceramic metal highlight and the LED. It had the least amount of par in the room. And the other side, I had this remote cushion, had the most amount of par right beside the Gavita. And when I weighed them out, one was 88.8 grams, the other one was 88.2 grams. And on video, my face was like, because I was amazed. Even the one under the LED and ceramic metal highlight looked more crispier. It smelled better. It had more terpenes to it than the Gavita. So my next one is I want to test all 3 levels, the top, the middle, and the bottom that you guys are discussing. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. And probably tonight on all 3 plants, so that one I want to see. And I believe that on the Gavita, on those tops, it'll be degraded THC because of the heat. And I'm seeing, you know what I mean? So, and on the top of that remote with the least amount of par, but I was using UVC light too, had just such amount of terpenes. You could see how crystally it was on top, the difference. So it'll be interesting to start noting that, right? So it's just fun. I wanted to do it because I was curious, and now I'm seeing it that really, I'm going to take the 2 Gavitas out and put in 2 more Spectrum King LEDs and leave the ceramic metal highlights in the middle this time. See what I do that time, because it's really, for me, it's about power consumption. And the amount of resin that I'm getting, it's about the terpenes. So if I'm getting less yield but more terpene profile, I'm getting a better medicine. I'm using less quantity of it guaranteed because I'm not going through so much, right? So it's really, it's changing with the legal line. We were able to start more taking a better look at that. I'm happy with it, guys. This, between me and you guys, it's working for me. And my power consumption is amazing. It's completely dropped. I got a graph. I've dropped like 3,600 kilowatts on my hydro bill. Like, we're talking like $600 on my hydro. That's a thumbs up, like, killer. So I'm getting so many benefits in different ways. Plus, I'm able to use everything from my plant too, right? So
do you think that beyond just the temperature, there's some sort of spectral energy too that's unique with those ceramic metal halides?
Well, like I was saying in the video, because I use that UVC Clean Light Pro on all the plants, it kind of really changed a little bit of thing, but that's just being honest, right? So, and that gave it that UVC and UVB light, but I believe the LED light has that, and I don't know if Brad's light does or not with the Endomax bulb. It's just ceramic metal highlight. Now, I was impressed on how well it did. It really was. It's good for the energy that it's using. I was happy with it compared to what I saw on the Gavita side. But the Gavita side gave me great yields. I'm not going for yields. If I was, I would have packed that whole side. It was about seeing what's working, right? Then we'll start concentrating on yields.
Thanks, Johnny.
Oh, no problem. I'm having fun doing it, guys. Like, really, I'm only after trying to get that best terpene. I want to start harvesting certain plants on certain days when the terpenes are more profound, take the rest of the crop to the end, and do the extractions and then put it all together. So, on like day 45, take down that harvest make that all dry sift, bone it up, and then on day 60 take down the rest, and then maybe modulate that way, because I can't do terpene extractions, but maybe I can add it to it. Just thinking, you know, there's so many different ways of being able to play with it as in a personal consumer for himself, right?
Yes, indeed.
So I'm excited.
You look like it on your videos.
I'm always excited. That's why I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm excited. It's just like interesting stuff. I mean, I sat beside Dr. Hornby for so many years and seeing all these profiles and understanding everything and just learning so much and digging into cannabinoid profiles and seeing how things work with patients and stuff. And now that the knowledge that I learned from volunteering for so many years in these clubs, and having the information that I know from the past and now using it for how I kind of, before it was all other people was calling the shots. Now I can go in and take a look at what I'm looking at. I can take down it's going to be great fun. I just got to get like I said, I got to get another column so I can do the terpenes, and then I can really start taking a look, because the profiles are just all the same that we all know. BC bud, you know, it's mid-20s or down to low mid 12 to 14 to 60% THC, and once in a while you get some CBD and something. So it'll be just the way things are, right? So it's the terpenes that are really changing everything, and that's what we already know. Then I can see why the rosin bud squished is so flavorful, and why that gives you such a big smile. What terpenes in that, out of all three of those that are all the same bud, is just so more better than the other ones that are being washed or dry sifted. It's weird. I'm doing a bong rip. Are we in chat? Are we like live or?
We're live. I just appreciate just smoking the hash now.
I was just listening to you guys talk. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I'm happy. I'm going to start dry sifting this week. I'm going to try to have a fat stash for the Emerald Cup. I got different flavors that I took out of the cure. Some Forum Cut, Sour, Ghost Strain Haze, Silver Haze.
It's a wonderful event for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's nice to be on the other side of a competition than always entering it and being anxious and nervous about the shit. Today's the award show for High Times, man, so I have a little bit of anxiety.
Yeah, I never wanted to compete. I've never had an interest in them. I never took them seriously. I mean, probably because I started on that side of the fence watching the crew consume the weed, try to figure out what it was, and I was like never impressed with the judges, to be honest. I was like, not to be rude, but you know, when you have people that are fucking judging stuff that they don't know how it's made, you know, I mean, it's a little fucked. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a little fucked. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I'm nervous because they changed the judging system to like all anonymous, point-based judging, like calculated by a computer. They don't have delegation, so they can't really. If the first place isn't what they want, they can't talk about it. So we'll see what happens, man. It'll be interesting.
You know, my view is that I don't see what the point is you know, it's not a horse race. They're all so different, and like, you know, you walk into a flower garden of not regular flowers. I mean, there's roses and dandelions and all these cool different flowers, and I like the diversity is what's awesome. And I wouldn't go and say, hey, the rose is the best flower. It's just not. I don't know, and I never got it. So like, I like my haze, I like my kush, I like the nuances of all the different varieties, and you know, then when there's so many little things that are pegged like on with its flowers being curing and handling and storage, you know, the competition can be really askew, really easy, and all it takes is, you know, a little mishandling of the samples. They all dry up, and they all taste like shit, you know, something like that. You know, I mean, it's really, I don't know. I don't know. The contests to me are quaint, but the craft in it, it's, I don't know.
Well,
it's the differences that I like, if that makes sense.
I'm done competing after this cup, man, because it just costs too much product, too much money. You know what I'm saying? It got kind of Like I'm
How big are the samples you have to submit? It's like 40 or 50 grams, right?
with the sift, it used to be 20, and if you know how dry sift yields are, 20 grams is kind of hard to get a certain micron or LPI, so the quality
20
comes out the way you
grams
want
is
it to
about a
be.
pound of good weed will get you maybe 20 grams of killer full melt dry sift.
Yeah, yeah, and depending on the screen, I sift on a 180 LPI, so
Half a pound of Congo got me 7 grams to 8 grams of the epic heads. And that was like cleaning it to like, it melted like water.
What screen do you use, John? The 196?
What screen?
Yeah, because
I use the 60, 90, 110, 200, and 304. So I actually use all the different. I clean on the 200, but I use the static dry sifting. So I do the DVD clean, right?
Word. So I like to clean on the 180 because I feel like it gives the heads, the bigger heads give it that more of that bling look, you know, like when somebody pops a jar and they look at your hash and the heads are big, it shines back a certain way than if you had like 196s or 230s. At least to me, because the heads get smaller and it'll glisten back, but it's a little different. So I'll save my 196 because it's still full melt, and I'll add it to a different run. But for the cup runs, I always use that 180, and I get, man, sometimes the yield, it depends because I'm running my homeboy stuff. It could be good, it could be bad, I don't know. But it takes a lot of fucking work. So 20 grams is like a sacrifice, yo. I'd rather smoke those 20 grams. But now it's 28 grams. So they just upped that shit 8 grams. It's like, fuck, bro. That's a lot more money, a lot more struggle. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I did it as long as I could. I don't know if I want to do it no more.
Because the judges are such lushes.
I mean, like, you really need 28 grams, dude? Fuck.
I don't know. I've been asked to enter into cups, and I did in the beginning because I was just proving it was my medicine, and I was a patient growing his medicine. And you know what? To give up any kind of meds I'll go give it away to patients and sit down and educate them and tell them how they can do it. But to just give it to someone to judge it and tell me how good it is, I know it's fire. Fucking everybody loves it, so I don't need to.
Hey, you know what I'll do, John? I'll trade you my 20-gram entries for your 20 grams, and then you can tell me if it's good. I'll tell you yours is good. We'll enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? We're both winners.
Oh, dude, you at 20 grams each, we'd be like, I mean, I'd be in heaven for about 2.5 weeks. But I mean,
you know, the only contest that I saw that I really thought was completely legit is the Secret Cup with the way they do their hash, because they take the samples, they divide them up, and then only the people who entered, who made the hash, are the judges, and they all, so you give them, I think it's 20 grams, and you get 12 back, because you get 12 back in the sample kit of everybody else's stuff. And I think that's a fantastic way to do it, because obviously every judge has their own self-interest in mind, but a lot of it, what you see is that they can't even identify their own hash when it's in with 40. You know what I mean? And it's really quite telling. And you do see the differences. And then, you do have at least crowd favorites emerge, because in some ways I'll still say that the stuff that wins may not be my favorite, but it was a crowd favorite. You know what I mean? So you get consensus opinion for sure. But I like how they do it, because you know that the people that are judging the oil actually know how the oil was made.
And I like the comment system. Maybe last year, I had a homeboy that entered, and he also judged. He brought the kid to my house, and he was like on the website reading what people were saying, and it was kind of like a trip. It was really nice how they were judging it, and so yeah, I like the Secret Cup, man. I was looking forward to it here in Seattle this year. I don't know what happened.
They're gonna have the year-end one here in LA coming up in December, and I'll ask Dan if he'll be on. Daniel DeSalles is the one that owns Top Self Extracts. I think he just moved to Portland, Oregon now, and I got a lot of respect for Dan and Jeremy. I think those two guys have done a great job of bringing the hash culture together in a really fine way, and it brought up the game of BHO in a huge way, because all those guys being able to see what the other guys were doing, the innovation with buttering, and a lot of the stuff we're seeing now, the lighter, more delicate, terp-rich, just amazing stuff like Dabalicious and Vern Phillips and others that are doing it. It's on the edge of epic. And I think it's really because they started literally being able to see what each other was doing. And if it wasn't for those contests, they wouldn't have had that exposure to each other's work, especially in volume.
Yeah, also the challenge, right? There's a challenge to kind of like take it to the next level, and you know, anybody who rises to a challenge is always going to, you know, you might fall short of where you think you can go, but still you might take things a lot farther than you would if you
So
weren't.
that would have been exactly with the Congo when I did the dry sift and I first got my first couple rounds. I had 16 grams. It wasn't good enough because I was going into that competition. I wanted the best, and I cleaned that 16 grams down to 5.9, and I had to scramble to get more for the end. And that's what pushed me, was because of that, to push myself to take it to that extreme, to learn that I can actually go that far with it. So, and that's 100% because I entered into the Canadian Concentrate Open, the finale here, and took first place for the dry sift. And you knew about it like after 6 months and killed it. And because I took it at an extra level to prove that all you needed was just, you know, dry. Mark's coming back. Maybe not. Anyways, it pushed me, like you were saying. I mean, that brought us together. I got to meet other people, and since that, I've met other people that are now going, taking their game to another level and want to learn how I did my sift. I said, I did it 3 times. I just kept going until it was like white as sand. It's beautiful.
Yeah, for a sift, all it takes is just the proper knowledge of trichomes, man. I mean, if you know how to make good water hash and you have a good mentality of what size heads you like, if you like 73, then use a 196, clean it, you know what I'm saying, and you'll see what happens. But just isolating heads isn't the whole factor, man. It takes that profound knowledge of resin and experimenting and smoking a lot of your own shit before you let somebody smoke it and try it, you know. But yeah, hey, did you get first place in a dry sift only cup, or you were in the whole hash?
Whole hash thing. That's everybody's almost won for 6 months. It was a 6-month competition, and every month 6 or 7 guys entered. Horatio won. A lot of people won. Horatio with his LHO and stuff, and I came in at the end, and it was Horatio, and everybody had all of those 6 winners for the last 6 months, and it was the final. And I was asked by my friend Tim to enter in the second one, and I laughed. I said, I'll come in with dry sift in the end, walk in late and win, and he laughed. I walked in at 20 after 5. I was about a half an hour late, and I spent the time, and it was just like, it was Remo who had grown it, so I mean, he had taken it to that level. He had several different strains. He asked me, he goes, what strain's going to win? I said, well, if you got Congo, I know how it sifts because I've sifted Congo so much. It gives great, amazing sift with the Congolese. I mean, I love it. Same with the Jamaican. So those sativas can be really good. They might be great, but the sift from them are just amazing. The terpenes are, you could smell it in the room when you walked in when everybody was smoking it. It just was like so uplifting, right? So I mean, it was just, it was a no-brainer. I mean, what's going to win is, you know, funnel dry sift with a certain profile with those terpenes that makes everybody smile with a big is going to win. Not those down-regulated mercy when people come back, they're all like, oh, I'm really stoned, uplifting, and people are just like, it was cool to see. It was really, really cool to see. And, you know, thanks to Remo for, you know, bringing me that resin bring me the bud to clean and just calling me. It was awesome. It was good to do. Have fun.
Yeah, yo, it's because of the proper dry sift. When you come with dry sift out of cup, that shit is some fire. You know what I mean? It just it stands out. It just stands out, man. And if it smokes good, it presses good, it's different, man. A lot of people don't get to see that type of quality. Not that it's that type of quality hash, because there's 6-star melts and shit like that, but just a dry sift that can hold its own weight with water hash and rosins and all that shit. Hey, it's rare to see that, bro.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I would never learn if it wasn't for Mark Bubbleman, right? He really showed me those. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, and he showed me how to take it to those next levels, and he always kind of got on me, and now I'm just making epic hash. It's really easy. Just got to dry it, grow it properly, cure it properly. Come to the cure. Cure is everything, as you guys all know.
Yo, I told somebody once, I had my water hash lab, right, and it was like shut down for like 3 months. I just didn't want to wash. And I had a buddy over, and I was like, man, making dry sift to me is like easier and faster. He's like, what do you mean, bro? I can wash this and that. I was like, look, bro, I can sit in front of my screens, keep my shit, clean it, and when I'm done, I can smoke it. Now, if I wash, I gotta do the whole process, you know, wick the patties, break it down, wait a bunch of time for it to dry. Can't even smoke it till like a couple days later. You know what I mean? Like, shit, dry sift is so much better, dude.
That's the best part. Just
Can smoke it right away.
hair press. Woohoo! That changed everything for me. That was just like wow, what the hell? Squished everything. Everything. Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, it's what we love, right?
Hey man, I want to shout out to Smash Extracts. They just made a cool little thing for Hash Church, but what a profile this person has. They're amazing. I love Instagram. I've always been a photo geek, and now to be able to search by keyword and just look at stuff, it's just epic to see the world through other people's eyes, and there's little wonder that Instagram is just so damn popular.
Hey, that's a nice picture, man. At least we're all happy, smiling. I feel good this morning. It's a good start.
Dude, like I said, fucking.
You know what I'm saying? Hey,
kind shout out to Smash Extracts, man. Follow their Instagram, check it out. It's all about it's cannabis, it's hash, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, while you guys were talking.
Man.
It's great to see how everything's happening. The legalization platform all over the world. It's the whole world's gonna go green. I always said it, take it around the world, man. It's going to change everything. Can't wait to start smoking hash from Jamaica and BC.
Do you want to know, man? You know what? This is why I was pro 3 in Ohio, because I'm all about change more than I'm about the details, because people are trying to write the details in, and I hate to say it, but those details are going to fall off the face of the prohibition cliff, because everything's going to change so much when we have a legal right to just do what us brave people have been doing for decades, which is grow a little bit of flowers, and now we're coming together and talking about it. But once that shit changes, factory weed can go to hell, man. It ain't going to work. It's just, it'll be around, but the problem with cannabis I see in the sense of control is that we all can grow it. In our closets, in our backyards, in different temperate climates. This stuff grows literally like a weed, even though it's not a weed. But the reality is that it's hard to grow tobacco. It's hard to distill good whiskey or make good wine. But my fucking grandma can grow killer bud. You know, that's just the truth. And we can all have big egos about it. Oh, my flowers are great. But guess what? Legalize this shit, you're going to see grandma down the street cold, smoking old growers, being like, well, I have an old way of doing my tomatoes, and it works for weed. You know, and it's just everything's going to change, man. I mean, especially the culture. It's all going to change. You know? That's why I say vote for change. Fuck the fucking bullshit. It's all going to change anyway.
I mean, look it up here, Tom. We got Trudeau saying he's going to legalize cannabis, and we're all taking meetings on it the other day on platforms about how they are going to legalize.
Man, I wish Canada would invade America and take over America. That'd be great.
But I mean, we're on the verge right now. We have full legalization upon us. We already have laws set in place where we have mandatory sentencing for 6 plants or more. I've always stated this with meetings with others. We have 25 licensed producers. We have Tweed that's working out with DNA Genetics, signing contracts to get their strains up here for patients. We have big drug stores that have over 1,000 stores that do multi-billion-dollar turnkey business that host a wide variety of doctors. We've had already RX Media educate 1,600 doctors across Canada for the CCIC, Canadian Consumers Investigation for Cannabinoids, educating doctors on how to prescribe cannabis. They did this 3 years ago, so there's a lot of platform that's already been set in place, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with what has been kind of working towards what's about ready to be upon Canadians, and hopefully changing the world at the same time of the legalization, like what Jamaica's in the midst of doing right now. All right, so it's really exciting times, guys. Like it really is.
A lot of why I was sitting here quiet is because honestly, a little bit, I'm just sitting in awe at the fact that this is going down in Jamaica, and I'm really happy for it. I mean, the Cannabis Cup changed my life when it brought me to Amsterdam, and it brought me around, you know, Sensi Seeds and the Dronkers and Aryan and all these very progressive people that didn't really fit the mold of a pot stoner, you know, like, you know, Ben Dronkers is a total stoner, but not at all the stereotype, if you know what I mean. And to see that this is now influencing, it's beautiful. I mean, to see this happening in Jamaica right now, I think is friggin' great. You know, I love to see the culture come together, because I think that that's what the prohibitionists feared the most. Because if we start really talking to each other and getting information out and sharing our knowledge, and everybody starts feeling like, you know, it's as natural as it is to grow flowers and, you know, press your buds, and I think that they're doomed. You know, it's something I was studying the other day, and I'd love to know what people think about this, but a friend of mine who's not religious was in college, and she was took a religious class, and so she figured she'd study witchcraft. And what is interesting is the demonization of witchcraft has been what has gone away, but in a sense per se, witchcraft hasn't. The people that practice Wicca, and that now we realize by society, okay, it was dumb to burn witches, but isn't it kind of the same what we're doing? We're demonizing cannabis as a whole. I mean, people in towns used to come out and watch them burn witches that people said were demonic or whatever, and that became very not cool. And at what point are we going to get to a place where it's very not cool to do that to us? You know, I just think maybe around the corner, you know, maybe not that far away. I actually had something beautiful happen to me yesterday. It's a weird thing to say, but because of Facebook, I got out of federal prison in 2004. I was in Terminal Island prison from 2000 to 2003. Pretty much sucked. And, you know, some of the guards were really human, really nice people that were doing their job, and just really nice people. And one of them contacted me yesterday basically saying that he's now retired, realized he's waited over 13 years to write me and say, hey, man, I really appreciate what you were doing, and now that I'm retired, I hurt myself. I'm a medical cannabis patient too, and, you know, thank you. I could never say that until now. And it really hit me, and I was like, God, I wonder how many other people that, like, we've all encountered through our journey that were on the side of prohibition, if you will. You know, this guy really wasn't. He was just a prison guard. He wasn't a prohibitionist. He wasn't like a DEA cop. But I even wonder how many of those guys get cancer, and girls, and then have to, like, look around and realize, God, chemo sucks and radiation sucks, and shit, maybe pot does work. And, you know, because I've been at it a while, I think a lot of these people have had the opportunity to get sick and get fucked up, and we probably have more people falling on our side of the fence by happenstance and reality than we would have ever guessed. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it hit me with this guy because I was, you know, he was one of the people that I think I never thought was listening, and to think he was listening the hardest. You know what I mean? He was. You know, it just blows me away, and I think sometimes, you know, there's that old line in the Dead song, sometimes you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right, and I think that it's a trip. I mean, I used to do my activism with Jack Herrer. When I got into this shit, we had a clipboard, and he dragged my ass in front of a supermarket, and we would talk to everybody that fucking walked up to us and would sign our damn initiative, and that is how I started my activism. And then when I met Etienne, who's not with us right now, he and I would literally go college to college, stopping along the way to Kinko's to make more fucking photocopies so we could stand there and hand them out to whoever else would walk up to us that we could talk to about cannabis, because we had no other way of educating one another. This shit was totally unthinkable, this internet shit. You know what I mean, on this level. And now, I just don't know, man. If information is spreading this fast, this fluidly, I don't know. I think prohibition is more than doomed. And it's like burning witches. That mentality was doomed to fail. And I think burning our asses at the stake, literally burning our crops, literally. Like, we have pictures of these assholes setting the shit on fire just like it was a fucking witch. And, you know, society's got to snap at some point. I think it's gonna snap soon too. But what's everybody else think of that shit? I know I'm high, so, and I drank coffee, so deal.
I'm 100% on board. I always say that. Prohibition.
You know what? Which is really
and you can't stop it, and it's going to bounce off the ground a couple of times, and overall, I mean,
You can try it. It's not mine to give. Is this Omar's? Omar.
just kind of smiling. Yeah, I'm just doing the bong rip.
So who else uses their joint as a little dab wipe when they're done doing a dab? Decarboxylated oil, readily available.
Hey, that's a good idea, man. I didn't think about that.
Dude, it works great. That's why the joints last so long.
I got tons of that stuff because when I do my drop down, I piled it up. I got it in parchment, and yeah, it's great when you dab that. It's great. It's great for relaxing. You can eat it too. It works really well. I put it in my stir fry. I've tried different things with it. Just take it off, throw it in there. You can't even taste it, but you definitely feel nice and relaxed. All kinds of fun. And the new suppositories work really well. I was really happy with those actually. We're talking about it. Huh?
I thought you were joking, honestly. When I saw the Instagram post, I looked at it and I looked at it twice, and I went, "That must be kidding."
Well, what it is it's a company that's doing it. They're actually going to have it to try and implement it into the Health Canada program and into the legal application platform. So they've actually standardized it with certain. He gave me a little bit of a rundown. I'm going to go meet with the lab guys and stuff next week. They standardize it in 3 different dosages, and they're using basically DHO shatter. That's what they standardize it. But I mean, it works, and they're standardizing the dosage. I tried it a few times and had a good chats with them. But I mean, if I'm going to the hospital when I am going to have surgery, I'm not going to be able to puff or do anything for probably a week or two. So the suppositories are going to work well for me. And that's one thing I was looking into is how am I going to be able to administer my medicine while I'm in the hospital, because it's just like I can't have a volcano there. I'm not going to be able to get out of bed, stuff like that.
Wow, dude, I give you high respect. I really didn't realize that you were thinking ahead that efficiently, and that is a very effective way to get around the nurses for sure.
Oh yeah, no, they'll minister it too. So I'm being in talk with. I'm going to spinal cord research at the hospital here in Vancouver, and you know what? I need to have my medicine. This is what I choose. I don't want to be on pharmaceutical drugs. So
I fully support that, man. I think that's deep. That's really cool.
It's gonna work. So I'm prepared for it, And that with my amino acids, and I did it before. I did major back surgery, and I took Cannabis and I took converted-forms of THC, and I walked out of the hospital like the next day after surgery. The surgeon said, "Just go home."
Dr. Asoli from the University of Mississippi patented that, and my lawyer, when he brought it up in court, because he was basically being a witness against me because he found THCV in my urine back in '98. And when they were all in court, my lawyer was like, wouldn't it take the federal government to take something that was once passed hand to hand, mouth to mouth, in an act of peace, and turn it into something that you have to shove up your ass to get high on? And I was like, oh, David, oh my God. But Asoli and his suppositories.
The delivery system works very well.
That's what he said.
About 20 minutes, and I got about 3 hours of relief where I started coming down off of it. But the overall effects lasted for hours.
He made a great argument for it, saying it was very effective, and yeah, absolutely, I get it. Our bodies are pretty amazing in the way that we absorb things, and Yeah. Yeah. Glad I can smoke it. Glad I can just dab it. I really am. That would, you know. But,
Hey, you know, you could be going in countries, flying around, things you can't do, but I'm pretty sure this is something they'll look at and won't even touch. What's that, my suppositories? Okay, you have that shit.
you know, there's a lot of, you know, now that my friends are doing decarboxylated oils and I can get pills that I know what the milligrams is of the THC or the CBD, that's what I usually use when I fly. I just pop it before I go through customs and I don't have anything on me, and that way I eat all the food on the plane.
Well, that's why these work so well, because they are activated, and I've talked to the people that actually are making the ingredients in the past, and they've learned from me and how the activation process, and then they're actually putting it into the carrier oils that are working for absorption, and they standardize it into dosing, and it works. Once you kind of, you know.
What's going on?
We're
You guys still talking about lipids and cellulose? You're not talking about lipids and cellulose anymore?
No, we're talking about suppositories.
Oh my God! You can't talk about that on this Jamaican show. John, you tell him about that. It doesn't go, man. That's not right, man. Anyway, what's right is greenhouse bud. We've got some greenhouse herb. Gonna press out some more rosin.
Yeah.
All kinds of buddies down in here, Jamaica.
You ride with the good paper.
All kinds of buddies down here. Got Dab Stars in the background.
I didn't make it, but being here right now means I was there. It feels good. Thanks, guys.
This is the club, man. There's the built-in pool with the bar over there. I don't know if you can see it. There's all kinds of people hanging out. What are you guys thinking? What do you think about this experience in High Time so far?
Awesome. My thing. You know what I'm saying? My thing. Cannabis cup.
It's a bad thing?
My thing. Like, sick. Yeah. The dopest of the dopest. Yeah. Toughest of the toughest. 2015 World Cannabis Cup. You know what I'm saying? Chilling with the best group out there. You already know.
And you guys are from?
Rhode Island.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Church.
Hash Church fan.
Everybody.
Came out. You guys came out, right?
Austin from Rhode Island. Big fans.
Do you know even who you're chilling with over here?
Miami in the house. Miami in the house.
What?
Consummate Hash Church right here.
What?
Shout out to Cuban Grower and shit. You know,
What? Cuban Grower. Look at that. You're getting shout outs, bro.
Miami fam.
Westmoreland's.
Hey, man, mad love. Thanks for the love, man.
Yeah. We wish you here.
Hey, I
If
wish
you
I
entered
was
somehow, I think you'll be present. Did you enter in the World Cup?
Yeah, I entered in the World Cup.
You did, right?
Put in the with the dry sift. My wife and I made an entry, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
I got my homeboy Exotic out there though. He's rolling some joints with flowers, rosin, and dry sift.
They want to know if
Just
you did the
chiefing
Kimbo
everywhere,
Kush.
man. Yeah, Kimbo.
What'd you do? The Kimbo?
Kimbo and cookies and cream.
Kimbo and cookies and cream.
Awesome.
He went with his bread and butter.
Yes, sir.
That's why I didn't even enter.
Because you already knew what time it was.
You already know what time it is. Single source, 99% good.
I mean, what can you do against that?
You can't. That's why he's won every cup.
Straight up.
Yo, oh, man.
Repping from Miami. That's where I was born. Yeah, from Florida, man. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. We can see who else is here. Yeah, man. This is Omar. That's Omar. What's up, man? You're on Hash Church, man.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Beck, how are you doing, viewers? Nice to have you in Jamaica, you know?
Would you
some wonderful smoke here, you know?
What'd you think about the everything so far with the cup?
It's good so far. It's just like, you know, Omar is a little guy, have some good weed, but we can't get to enter. But we hope to enter next year. You know, it's a good cup and it's a good exposure, and we like everything about it so far. So far, so good. There's nothing bad that I see happen while we were
Nobody went
fun.
crazy, no violence and no
all
nothing.
smiling, everyone's happy, and you know. So
You can't be mad
nice
with,
to have
with
you
the
guys
guns,
and
man.
catch you live in Jamaica, you know. Yeah, man.
We're gonna keep going. Where are you guys from? London? You hash church fans? Every Sunday.
Tune in every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
East London Cannabis Club.
So you guys are from London, East London Cannabis Club, representing.
What Omar represent?
That's what Omar's representing, huh?
Omar.
Number one. Let's see what we got. You've been collecting rosin all day. You guys have been donating flowers, collecting rosin. Look at this. Little sticky. Sticky.
Rosin life.
The rosin.
Yeah. Where are you guys from?
London.
All London.
South London.
South London.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
Look at this. You having a good time?
Yeah, for sure. Jamaica. First World Cannabis Cup.
What'd you think about the music and the food and stuff?
Oh, you can't get it now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Little.
you can't. They know exactly what you want. And you buy it, it's all. You listen to the music and they go the drinks for you. They bring it up. You know what's up.
We need some jerk chicken there, though.
All right, you know I got to do this. What'd you think of this year's High Times? We're here with Danny, Dan Stars.
This cup's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people have been really accepting. We are coming back in March for Step High.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
What'd you think of the cup experience in comparison to Amsterdam?
You know what? I only got to go to Amsterdam once, which was last year, and then there was no cup, so I can't really compare the two. But from what I hear, this has been a little better than what's going on in Amsterdam.
A lot more acceptance, I feel, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And how many times have you been in the ocean?
I lost count. Pretty much the whole time, every day.
Yeah, see, that's the big difference.
Yeah.
Because in Amsterdam this time it's so cold and so like nasty.
Yeah, this is the first time we've gone to tropical.
Yeah.
Like Spain, it was cold.
Yeah.
March. Amsterdam was crazy.
Denver's cold
But
right
nice.
now. All right. Well, we'll catch up with you. Serious amount of people here. Everybody wants some dabbies. Dabbies. Look at come over here from Dab Stars.
What up?
Just said hello to
Jamaican
your crew.
rosin dabs.
Everybody.
Best dabs in Jamaica, baby. Oh, that's pretty good. It always tastes better when you make it yourself, right?
Right? What do we got over here? He's already cranking. So yeah, you just put it in the middle, you hold it down for about 30 seconds. So you smoke a little bit. It's going to be really close. Oh, I thought there was a problem. It's going to be really close. We want a little bit of bigger paper, but no, I just do it by hand. I just fold them up. If you want to see how I do an assembly line, I can get you like 5 in a row on that. And then you roll it up in little balls. Alright, I gotta show these guys how to make rosin. Let me plug this thing back in.
The D-Nail Press in Jamaica. Are we like just dead?
I think
Sorry, guys. I was actually watching them do that. You know, I think it's cool they brought all the gear and they're turning everybody on to all this stuff. It's yeah, it's fantastic. It's like it's infectious in a good way, is what it is.
Everybody's switching on to
Hey, I gotta say, it's pretty cool to be chatting back and forth with Skunkman in the chat. I can't even, it's crazy to me. We're talking about dry sifting, but I just figure I might as well say it, man. You know, I'm a big fan. So, yeah, the Kimbo Kush is really easy to dry sift. It has, a lot of the heads are on the 196 LPI to I've even gotten 61 LPI heads around that range. I actually had a gram of 61, man. That's like 230 micron. But the heads are very resistant to temperature. They don't grease very easily. Feel very sandy, but when you melt it, it has so much oil inside the head that even when it's not very clean, it melts better than a lot of 99% out there. Just leaves a big puddle of juice on the nail. But it doesn't take very much effort to get it to 99, and it's very easy to get the resin off of the material. Super easy. Same thing with the
How's the
cookies and
conversation?
cream. Yo, welcome back.
Dude, it's been hectic over here, let me tell you. North Cal Al just rolled up, and we're squishing his Jamaican bud, and it's coming out pretty nice.
Nice.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you guys for holding it down, by the way, while we made hash for that last little bit. That was very helpful, much appreciated. I'm not even sure when we started this church today, but we must be at 3 or 4 hours now. That was a good long time.
Yeah. Where are you right now?
We're going to head down to the Cannabis Cup.
Okay.
What's that, Todd?
We're not actually at the Cannabis Cup. People were in the chat saying it looks a little empty for a Cannabis Cup, and that's what I was thinking. You weren't technically at the Cup.
No, this is my friend's restaurant and hotel that's quite a ways down the West End. It was a trek for people to wake up and get here in the morning. So we had about 25 or 30 people, but there's a lot of people at the Cannabis Cup. Our booth has been slammed for 4 days straight with the terps and the bubble and the rosin. We've literally had like 100+ people standing in the booth the entire time. High Times had to give us a booth twice as big as the one they gave us because we were filling up the people's booths that were next to us.
Well then, wow, I can't wait to see the videos you make.
There's some good videos. There's some brilliant dialogues and conversations. A little bit of the concerts. A lot of the data.
Whoa.
That might be it.
That might be it, eh?
That might be it.
That might be the end of it.
Well, it's nice talking to y'all today. I'm seeing if the feed goes through. When it cut off, it went to black. Are you guys monitoring the?
Yeah, it's gone to black.
No. I'm pretty sure he's not going to get it back.
I'm seeing. All right. Well, I'm gonna go because it's still running. Hey, everybody, have a nice day.
No, wait a second,
it can still hear you. It's still putting out your voice, just so you know. So.
Oh, it is. So they can still hear us.
Yes, but so I'm gonna say good night and good day, everybody. Peace.
See you, Todd.
Yeah.
See you, Todd. So, Mark.
Are you gonna stay on?
Oh, hell yeah, I got a lot to talk about. I'm having all kinds of fun sitting in the lab. I want to talk to you anyway, so. And Cubans, and people can hear us. They probably would love to hear what we would love to chat about. So I'm going to get in the midst of start taking a look at the different half micron levels and then the different THC levels in them and stuff like that and where things lie. I just haven't had a chance to actually sit down and get into it just because it's just life puts you so busy, but. I mean, it's going to be. I'm really curious to see where things lie, and if I wanted to ask you, have you tested the micron levels or anything like that to see where that all lies in there?
I haven't. No, I'd love to get some samples, and I don't need 28 grams to test it.
Well, yeah, you know what? When Cuban's close to you, I know you only need. I need 1/10 of a gram. So but you'd like to pick it from something. I had someone give me a bud that was in his bag for like 2 weeks, and when I tested it, it was like it was like huge THC. I said, well, give me something that's fresh instead of something that's already full of everything. So I'm having fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, again, I think that like when El Soli published this paper last year saying that he isolated these new cannabinoids, that they're actually not new cannabinoids, they're actually microbial degradation products. So again, if you're not curing your weed properly, you can get them to foul with these things and they'll start degrading THC into these new other cannabinoids. which look like they're all precursors to CBN, which again supports the hypothesis that actually CBN is actually a degradation product that happens not only just by auto-oxidation in the air, but also by microbial degradation.
But I saw that with my the Medikush that I grew in 2012, and then the stuff from when we were talking there, a couple hash churches ago. I went out and tested it on the machine, and the CBD converted to CBN. The THC was roughly half of the drop, but I saw the degrade. The CBD is what degraded, not the THC.
That's interesting.
That's what I saw.
And that's by GC?
Yes.
Yeah, get yourself HPLC there, dude.
I know that. I saw there was no CBD left in the stuff that was sitting for years, and then after the THC was still there.
Huh.
It's fun though. It's fun to play.
All right.
Are you back again, Mark?
We still got everyone chatting in the chat here, guys. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the YouTube chat, but there's a bunch of people still in there, some 500 or so.
Oh, yeah.
How did the banner come out, Bubbleman? The banner came out amazing, and I'll do a Periscope later from the event. If you guys want to check out BC Bubbleman on Twitter, I'm going to do a Periscope in a little bit. But I do thank the panelists for coming in and being patient with us today. I know it was a lot of listening, but I hope you guys enjoyed Knife and Callie P and Young JR and everyone else that joined us. I'm now getting a call, so I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you at #61.